Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Bright and early. I'm in Leduc today. Told you I'm on the road. Let me go make sure we're live. We are very live. And some excellent news today. I got 1080p streaming. We got some high-speed internet. This is not Starlink. We are wired and wired and wired. So we're going to have a wonderful stream today. You're going to see every piece of me. There I am. And good morning to Railroaded. You are first by a long shot. Nice and early. He was here 12 minutes early. Really nice to see you, Railroaded. Wow, 5 people already. It's great to see everybody. Did you have a wonderful weekend? I did. Very busy. If you looked at my YouTube channel, I put up a whole whack of videos. I was catching up on the commentary. The commentaries have been running long because the notes are long. The testimony is very good. So I had a lot to say. So they're getting long. Like we're getting up to 4 hours of video now. It's like half the time as the inquiry itself. So I'm doing my best to try and condense a bit more. I know you want to hear all the information, but 4 hours is quite long. It does take a long time to get this stuff up. So that's why I'm going to try and consolidate it a bit more. So really nice to see you this morning, Railroaded. I did go back to my video from Friday, replayed it. So to Railroaded and Stunt and Clay and Denise and to everybody else that stuck around at the end yesterday, thank you very much. That was very special. That was a fun time for me, and I enjoyed it very much. So let's go ahead and as usual, we try and have a summary from Christine from the Canadian Constitution Foundation. And today we weren't disappointed. She did do one on Peter Sloly, the examination. And, you know, I got accused on Friday of being nice, which is a good thing. You know, I've been accused of being worse things than that. But she's even nicer because she definitely maybe bought into the emotional part a little bit more than I think some of us skeptical people did. Remember, I know that Peter Sloly is a very composed gentleman. He's a professional, and that's why I kind of had a little bit of trouble with the placement of that emotion and what it was responding to, and the lack of composure that allowed it to happen. So she has a different take on me on it. I think Peter Sloly tried his best, tried to do what he could. But at the end of the day, there's some emotions there, and we got to see them. And we also got to see it again in the second half of the day. So when he was talking about his resume and the fact that he has his mission statement in it, that mission statement got him triggered. I don't know. I don't know if I'm buying the emotion, but Christine seems to think that those are genuine. But everything else that she had to say, I really do align well with. She is very good at finding out those little nuggets as well. And we do have a lot of overlap. So we had a lot of the same questions. So I'm going to go ahead and play that video. And we'll see where let me go ahead and add that. Oh, my screen is not responding properly. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to do a quick refresh. You're going to lose me for about 2 seconds. But as soon as I get back, I'll be able to put that screen on for you. Just give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Now I have my button. Now I can bring my screen back. Sorry about that. Don't know if it's the internet or whatnot, but here we go. Wrong window. So let me get Christine. All right. Just a second, folks. We want Christine. We don't want me. There's no use in seeing me twice. There we go. Examination of the chief. There's Christine. All right. Well, so here's Christine from the Canadian Constitution Foundation. She's breaking down her summary of Peter Sloly. And at the end of the day, I agree with pretty much everything she says, but we will talk about the stuff I don't. Enjoy. Bye, Christine. That's wonderful. Well, there she is again. She did a wonderful, wonderful breakdown. She covered Sloly in his examination in chief. Did you see what it said? She kind of felt like his emotions were a bit real. I still question them. Just because I know he can compose himself. He's very good at that. And these particular issues, I don't think warranted. But, you know, he's a person. He's a human being. He certainly has his feelings. And he's entitled to them. So, welcome, Prairie. I see you showed up. I see there Azario. Azario. I'll just call you the A for now. Railroad, of course. Ellen is here, and Connie is here. Donald is here. Wow, I have the best group. And some excellent questions about police wearing body cams. I would absolutely be all for body cams 24/7. They should always be running. They shouldn't be something that be turned off. I think bathroom breaks might be the only exception to something like that. But in either case, I think we absolutely should be recording everything. I also want to say good morning to Tom Curry. Tom Curry is the lawyer for Peter Sloly. Hi, Tom. I guess I got your attention. You let me know that you're going to be listening and connected on Twitter and a couple messages back and forth. So good luck with everything. You certainly got your work cut out for you. I think you've been an excellent lawyer up to this point. Your client is as we call, making you earn your money for sure. He sounds like he's got an honest bone in him for sure. And it sounds like he's really trying to be honorable. But Tom, you and I both know some of that examination chief isn't good. Some of that stuff didn't come out well. You definitely have your work cut out for you. And if it's your attempt to try and make Sloly some sort of hero here, don't. Just try and humanize him. Try and make everybody understand that he is a person. There was a lot of pressure. He had fronts from all over the place that had nothing to do with the convoy, and all of that interfered with him. So humanize him, but don't get too emotional, because you also disconnect, because we don't feel it's genuine. He should be able to compose himself. He should be able to show us he's a leader. And with those characteristics, he'll sound a heck of a lot more truthful. He may have been completely truthful on Friday, but with those things in the way, it's really made it difficult to connect with him on honesty and integrity, especially when he followed Tom, Commissioner from the OPP, Thomas Courig. He was textbook dictionary definition of integrity. So when you follow somebody like that, and we got to see the juxtaposition so clearly, it's harder to really just connect with him. He could be 100% Tom. He could be 100% genuine on that, but he came off difficult. And also, as Christine pointed out, he definitely got abrasive and argumentative. And that's with the examination in chief. Now, that should give you guys some comfort in knowing that the committee council is doing a good job, and they are trying to be impartial, because they certainly weren't kid gloving him. They weren't making him comfortable. They weren't trying to just slow ball anything to him. They were coming at him, and that's why he got aggressive and he got emotional and he got frustrated. It's because he is actually being challenged. Now, this is going to be a bad day for Sloly. I do think so. And Tom, I hope you prepared him for it, because he really needs to keep his emotions in check. I know that the OPS is going to challenge him hard. I know that Paul Champ is going to challenge him very hard. And I know Brendan's doesn't have a abrasive side that I've seen so far, but he has a cutting side. He definitely will be able to get right in there and get under that skin, and just a little nerve there, and we could lose Peter. So Tom, if you are listening, get him to relax, take a deep breath, and don't try to spar. This is not a sparring competition. This is about the truth and the information. And the more sparring it looks like, the worse it will come off for him. So Tom, thanks for the follow. Thanks for the message. I think you got your work cut out for you. You're definitely going to be earning it. And like I said in my message, I'm not looking to get your insight on your professional position right now. I understand you got to keep that. But I wouldn't mind seeing the person. So if you want to get him on the screen and chat, we can talk about the Tom, who you are, and we can leave some stuff out for now. But thanks a lot for that follow. And also Keith Wilson, thanks for the retweets this morning. You blew up my Twitter. I guess you like the Brendan clips. You like all the commentary around the Brendan clips. That was definitely a shocking moment for Canada. There's no question that the OPP was really working hard to make a plan. They came up with a third plan. So I understand, Keith, that your team did everything they could during the convoy. They had two active plans that were worked on, the mayor's plan and then the PM's plan. Just a quick recap, the mayor's plan was, if you move everything to Wellington and free up the residential, you can get yourself a meeting with the mayor. And the PM's plan was, if you denounce violence and you say you're going to leave or you plan to leave, then you can get a meeting with the prime minister. So both of those plans are being executed concurrently. There was also kind of a third plan that was being executed, which was the continuation of the protest if this wasn't going to happen, which was moving to farmers' fields, getting ready to start busing people in, start, relieving some of the congestion in Ottawa so that became less of a problem. And then we could focus more on the protesting. And then the OPP plan, I guess, would be the fourth one that was kind of materializing around the same time. So on February 14th, when the Emergencies Act dropped, there was two plans that were active. There was a third plan that the convoy itself was working on to prolong the protests legally, peacefully. And then there was a fourth plan from the OPP that got shot down. So when the government says we had no other option, it's baloney. There was plenty of options. There was plenty of people working very hard. So that clip where the OPP found out their plan made it all the way to the cabinet, but was rejected, and then they invoked the Emergency Act. That was one of those moments. Brendan did a great job. I don't think he's trying to be dramatic. It's just the way the situation was. So thank you to Keith for the retweets and stuff. And I know you're in the same position as Tom Curry, where you can't talk much. And Keith Wilson and Chris Barber were added as witnesses. So we're going to see them this week. They weren't there last week. Came late last week. They got added. I confirmed they are on there. I believe we're hearing Keith on Wednesday with Tom as well. But in either case, we're going to hear from Chris Barber and Keith Wilson now. So I'm excited about that. Now let me just go queue up the window. I got a high-speed stream today, and this browser's been a little wonky, so let's make sure we're good to go. It's looking good. There it is. There it is. Let's go full screen. There we go. All right, folks, look at that. And how do I look in 1080p? Huh? I'm not in 720 today. How do I look? Maybe trim a little bit more. I got to get ready for court. So I do have court this afternoon at 1 p.m. local time. So that kind of works out. You'll have me for the lunch hour. So I'll have the morning break, I'll have the lunch hour break, and then most likely the afternoon 15-minute break, depending on how quickly these people decide to smarten up. I may be back sooner. But if I'm not, I'm going to please beg you to just bear with me. There might be 15 minutes of dead air. Grab a coffee, write to your MP, tell them how upset you are with them. Let's do something productive with our time. But if I'm not back, please enjoy the background. There's some art back there, and you might enjoy it. So let me just have a couple more messages to everybody. So Railroaded, we're going to connect. We can do some sort of interview or something soon. I guess you need me at this point. My story might be better discussed in moments after the commission. Sure, Railroad, we can totally connect whenever you want. Yeah, I was just looking to fill the air. Railroaded, you have some good stuff to say. Stunt, if he's around, that offer will be extended to him as well. And actually anybody in the chat if you want to. I see Prairie agrees at 24/7 for the police. Yeah, we should be recording everything. I also believe that on the political level. So all meetings, chambers, all of them, Senate, House, those should all be streamed. Federal, provincial, regional, municipal, all of those should be streamed. There's no excuse anymore. The $40 for a camera, you can even get a cheap little microphone and away you go. So there's no excuse anymore. Oh yeah, you've been watching the mainstream media. It's a joke, isn't it? A massive joke. All over the place, just as we expected. Slowly crying was the big thing we wanted to talk about. But they certainly are not talking about how all the different options, including the Provincial Emergency Act, had all the capabilities to deal with everything that they wanted to. And again, we're not even agreeing that this stuff was illegal and unlawful. There wasn't even a single unlawful protesting charge laid. I'm still not conceding that the protest itself was unlawful and it required police action. But even in that case, if they wanted to go ahead and illegally determine and declare it as unlawful, well then at least they still had the tools to move people, move trucks, create red zones, create barriers. They had all those means. So there was still no reason to go to the EA. This was just straight up a show of force, in my opinion. A bit of a reminder to Canadians on who's boss. But I think it completely backfired. I think what the government learned is they now know who's boss. It's the Canadians. And we can absolutely show up and do a job. Keep it peaceful.
Order allowed.
Oh, here we go. We got the audio. Enjoy the first morning. We'll talk soon. Très bien, mon amis. Très bien, mon amis. Holy moly. Wasn't that amazing? Holy, this guy does not like being challenged. He does not like having anyone handle or control him. He is not a cooperative witness when he doesn't like what's going on. A couple comments in our chat was, police act this way. You can expect this kind of thing from the police. I don't know. We saw the OPP be completely different. They were wonderful. Did you see once Tom Kirk talk over anybody, be combative to anybody, demand to see the notes, demand to see the documents, demand to see the evidence before he would comment? Not a chance. Not a chance. And that's exactly what you expect from a truth teller. This man, I don't want to totally say he's a liar or anything like that. I want to be careful with that. Tom, thanks for the follow. But at the end of the day, this guy is obfuscating like a pro. I got a comment, I think it was Joe or Don, that said he's not a very good witness. I think if you want him to be a cooperative witness, then maybe you're right. But as a combative, a dance around the subject, tiptoe, tap dance type of witness, he's nailing it. This is exactly how they look, and this is exactly how they sound. Two major mistakes, I think, by Sloly on just his attitude, not even the context of what he said, was you never argue with commissioner, judge, justice. You never do that. No matter how right they are and how right you might be, you don't argue. And the second big mistake for any witness out there, STFU as much as you can. That is the goal. You need to be quiet as much as you can. Only answer the question that was asked of you. Be as direct and concise as you can. What you never want your witness to do is to rant, to go on a rant. And at least 2 times, Chief Sloly, or ex-Chief Sloly, went back to a question that was previously answered that he felt wasn't fully answered to his satisfaction. So he went ahead and said, no, I want to, finish that up. Being a good lawyer, he'll be allowed to, because the more a witness speaks, the more your chances of getting a slip, a Freudian slip, the truth, all of that can come out. And it's also a lot easier when someone's emotional and ranting to have them spill the beans accidentally. So, and catch them in a lie too. It's one of the easiest techniques to do, is to get someone flustered, get them to start defending themselves like vigorously, and you'll get some sound bites out of there. And Brendan's next, it sounds like. And I'm really glad Brendan decided to split it up, because what Brendan needs to do, and this is exactly why he said take the break now, is he's going to slow roll slowly to build up the pressure, to build up his blood boiling. He's already simmering, so it won't take very long to get him really going. But what he's going to likely get him on is a couple questions where he's going to challenge the authority and the respect that the chief had. This is where I think they're going to go, because all morning the chief was saying things like, I didn't know that was happening, refresh my memory. I didn't know that order was placed. I didn't know who's in charge there. I don't know who the command is. He doesn't know anything. So what Brendan's likely going to get him to at least try to admit to is that he had no control of command, and there was no approval process. Things needed to be approved. Certain people thought things need to be approved. But even the chief said at one point, he's not there to approve everything. What is this guy's job? Like, his job isn't to read the emails, to read the Hendon reports, to communicate with his team. He's just in lots of meetings with 25 people at a time, and doesn't recall anything. And did you hear that at the end? It sounds like he wiped his cell phone, and he's going to get busted on that, because it sounds like he deleted all text. I was IT in the government. Yes, it's property of the government. You can't delete things. I would be really surprised, though, if his stuff wasn't backed up on the cloud and things like that. So for them to say they don't have a copy of it, I would be surprised about that. But he certainly would have had an opportunity to maybe wipe it. So we kind of heard that at the end there, and he denied it. He denied doing that. So that'll be pretty easy to show later, especially if they have some cloud backing up, because you'll see when his last texts were backed up, and then you'll see that it's all wiped. So it was a weird statement. If he did do that, what's he hiding? If he did do that, he's not very smart because there's going to be copies. So it actually makes it look like destruction of evidence, destruction of government property, because the text message is property. It might just be digital, but it is property. So deleting them is destruction of property. Do the break, yeah, for sure. Oh, that was mine. Oh my God, you loved it, Railroaded, huh? This has been a lot of energy and a lot of excitement. Really making up for the dullness on Friday. Called him Mr. I'm sure he wanted to call him other terms too. Min's not mon. Mes-ami, mon ami, mes-ami. For the ladies, yeah, my apologies, my friends. Not chief. Yeah. Well, he's not a chief anymore, right? He's an ex-chief, so he's not active. And then, Joe, I think you mentioned that you thought he had his uniform. I did go back to the video to confirm first. No, he was in a similar suit. And I don't think there's a uniform he's allowed to wear at this stage. I don't know if he was military or not, but I think he mentioned something because he kind of dropped that in one of his testimony. He was in some mission. But anyways, he's not active military, and he's certainly not an active police chief, so no uniform for him. Ask no questions. He tells him he has no. Railroad, you're loving this. This is a lot of fun. Hi from Honk Army. Charlie C. Hello, Charlie C. Nice to meet you. I think that's a new name. So welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're finding this to be a pretty unbiased representation of what's going on here. Big muffin. Yeah, that's right. You know, Charlie, and this is what we in the legal, like I was a paralegal, so I had some questions in the chat about whether I was a lawyer and I can help. I was a paralegal. Ontario licenses them, so they're just, you know, mini lawyers. We can do all the easier stuff, including criminal, so summary stuff. And yeah, you want your witness to be quiet. You want to treat witness being on stand much like you would confronting with a police officer. You just keep the conversation to a minimum. You just answer directly. Don't go off the rails. It's a bad idea. It shows you have no control. It shows that you want to be the one in control. And as we saw, the commissioner had to remind him that he's not in control. But yeah, you don't want them to talk as a lawyer. The other side does, because if it's the other side's witness, you want them to babble all day long. We love you, Charlie. So, Charlie, who are you? Seems like you got a bit of a following. People know who you are. Welcome. Very nice to meet you. I hope you stick around, and maybe we can get together. Charlie, just so you're aware, I'm trying to find some guests, and I like to bring people on because Canada deserves to hear the truth from the people there. So, Charlie, if you're part of the convoy in any way, a supporter, a participant, anything, reach out. Hit me on Twitter. We'll do some DMs, and maybe we'll get a show or some interview going. So Charlie Sloly is so selective for sure. Yeah, he's smart. He's smart, but he's acting dumb. I don't think he's as dumb as he's acting. This is all play, pretending like he doesn't remember the meetings on the 15th and stuff like that, and making a comment that he put in a full 8 hours on the 15th. So it sounds like he left on the 15th, not the 14th. So we got some of that out today. So he can deny for sure, Charlie. Yeah, you've seen this before. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Most definitely. He is on the hot seat today, for sure. And I don't think we're going to get through him. Well, maybe. I know the Canadian Constitution has 30 minutes with him. I believe the convoy will probably have about an hour with him. We might be able to get through him today and see a little bit of Chris Barber today. For sure, so he can hide stuff. Yeah, that's what he does. Railroaded. This is pretty normal. I didn't like how what's his name now? David kind of lost his cool a little bit. Only because look, listen, for everybody's under a time constraint here. They all have little windows to do their questioning in. So when it's testimony that came out, or a statement from the witness, or a statement that's in the witness statements for the commission, because all of the witnesses wrote a big long document about what they intended to say. As long as it's in those kind of documents, you should be able to just refer to them as statements without having to pull the document up. But when you have a combative witness who's trying to obfuscate everything, they're going to drag it out and force you to put it up. They're going to say things like, I don't recall if I had the document. They'll say things like, do you want me to read that entire email? Because they're really trying to drag their feet and frustrate the other side too. David moved on. he moved on. But on a couple of them, I think if he took a little bit more time, he could have maybe got a better answer out of the witness. But I can see that David's getting frustrated too, because he's got a time restraint. Normally there isn't a time restraint in court. You go as long as you need to, sort of. But there's so many representatives, there's so many witnesses, and there's 6 weeks. So they chopped it up into little blocks, and they're really trying to keep them on it. Everyone's already paid. Everyone else, trust. Yeah, Roland, it sounds like you're going through something. I don't know anything about you or your background. There's very little I can do other than suggest you talk to other people. If you're worried about the OPP, is there anybody you're not worried about? RCMP? I don't know. I don't know how to help you right now. I'm on a live stream, but maybe reach out to the Law Society. I don't know what your situation is and why you don't feel comfortable with the OPP. They've seemed pretty good to me, but let's take that one offline. Okay, Roland. You had in a cell fully locked with everything. That's what he said. But OPS wouldn't be bringing that question up if they don't already have the answer. So that's what he said. That's what he said. I don't think that's what actually happened. I think he handed it into IT. IT opened it up, and they were empty. And that's exactly what they wrote down. Again, I'd be surprised if they don't have a copy of it all, though, because then, well, they can show it was wiped, but more importantly is the evidence. Hi, back at you. Hi, Charlie. Yeah, I would like to learn who you are. You seem to have some friends around here. Now, you probably know who Stunt is, and I'm really just learning all of you. Provide a password. They don't need passwords. IT, the devices, they have administrator. They can get into them. They don't really need his passwords. But they can't undelete on the physical phone. But they should have copies. No, the phone was wiped. Yeah, sure, Donald, for sure. Yep, there's a lot of forensics that can happen. Police officer, a chief should know that. Even attempting to do stuff like that, you're just opening yourself up to destruction of property and tampering of evidence. Those are two serious charges. Well, one is not so much a criminal. It depends how much damage you do. So destruction of property. But tampering of evidence is very, very bad. You don't do that. You can get into a lot of trouble. But as Donald will tell you, Donald Best will tell you, it's also very hard to get people like police officers and officials in the legal system to be accountable. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it certainly is hard. And I think Donald would agree with that. It was the only coffee up when I joined in. Oh, yeah. Good morning, John. Or Joe. I think you're referring to the uniform. No problem. No problem. We've saw lots of uniforms, so it's super easy to mix up witnesses. Alberta time. Yeah, you guys, Railroad, you are in Alberta time, so you were up bright and early with me this morning. Yeah, my day started at 4 in Leduc because I got some actual work I got to catch up on too, because sitting here interferes with other things I got to do. But anyways, happy to get up early for the team and do what I can. Yep. Charlie. Freedom Loving Canadian who woke up and went to great. Thank you, Charlie, for representing us there and doing that. I'm not sure where you're from, but thank you for going to Ottawa. It was cold, doing your thing. Thank you for that, Charlie. Hi, all. Did I miss anything good? No, Denise, it was pretty easy. Nothing. Oh, Denise, we had quotes like you said you would cut his nuts off. You would use his nuts as bookends. These were quotes that came out already. So, yeah, it's been pretty exciting. Feel free to replay a little bit later when you have another chance. It was fun. We definitely have a lot of clips that we can probably pull out of here. The Sloly just continued what he did on Friday, which was the Office Gate dance challenge too. Now he's being very combative. The first lawyer that we saw for the first 2 hours was OPS, so his former employer. And as I suspected, because Sloly painted a picture of OPS being dysfunctional while he was the king. I don't think OPS was going to agree with that depiction of them. I believe that as far as they're concerned, maybe he was the biggest clog in the machine. And they kind of came out, held his feet to the fire. Too many times, Sloly said, I don't remember that, I don't recall that. But then, black and white document, there it is. So, yeah, he hasn't had a good morning. He has gotten frustrated, and he has been told to kind of watch himself a bit. I have some audio, so I'm going to put this on here. I don't know if it's just an open mic or not, but I'll keep going for you, Denise. But yeah, he has been very combative. The commissioner has asked him to kind of stop trying to control things, which is good. He is a control freak, Joe. Yeah, you see it. It's easy to see. Chris, there's nothing simple about freedom-loving Canadians. That's right, Railroad. Keep them humble. Hank, for your attending. Yeah, well done, Charlie, for being there, and everybody else who was there. When some of us could not be there in person. Thank you again. Yes, I feel the same way, Railroaded. So thank you, Charlie, for being there when some of us couldn't be there. Thank you. Thank you to everybody that was there. Spoilation. That's a neat word. Spoilation. Spoilation. It was necessary. Ottawa during convoy was like Canada Day celebration on steroids, but safer, cleaner, safer, and more unity than I've ever experienced. I felt that all the way through too. The streams, you felt it. The emotion, you felt it. The interviews when they went into trucks and interviewed the truckers. 100% Charlie. This was Canada at its best. 100%. Yes, we had the counter protesters. Yes, we had some councillors of the city doing weird things. But overall, this was Canada at its best. It's going to mark a pivot in Canadian history, and I'm super happy it happened. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I feel a little silly that I don't know who Stunt Dummy is. It's coming up everywhere in my chats, on my Twitter. Stunt Dummy is a bit of a figure. So I'm really pleased that he found me and he likes what he sees. And I'm certainly going to have him on the show. And if you're listening in Stunt's garage, you all got to raise 10% on Friday. And I'm feeling pretty generous with Stunt's money. So let's see how this goes. You might get another raise tonight. Ellen, you're awesome. Thanks for connecting me with me on Twitter, and your DMer now. So hit me up anytime. We'll do a lot of chatting. Leduc. Well, Charlie, I'm in Leduc live right now. Just I don't live in Leduc. I'm over in the bush by Breton, but I have a court matter today, 1 o'clock. Hopefully won't take too long. So I come into town the night before. The kids like the water slide and all that kind of stuff. So we make this into a little bit of a day for them while I'm doing this and going to court. And then we'll head home tonight. You got to get back and get ready for winter. It's coming. And say hi to your bro for me, and let him know about me, because I'm planning to represent him at the next federal election. I will be the MP. Leduc is in my riding. So if you're in Leduc and you're watching this mug, look for it. And this guy wants to represent you. Best Winterlude ever. Cool. Oh, there's a new name. Well, great. Now I got to try and spell that or pronounce that. AR. How you doing? We'll just go with that. Rupa was awesome for documenting reality. Cool. Yes, watched him during the convoy. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to maybe catch up on some of his stuff because he seems to be right in there, like right in there. A great witness, a great participant. So I would have to catch up on some of his stuff. Described as a family reunion among strangers, for sure. And you know what? That was our release after 2 years.
Order a lot.
Oh, here we go. We're back. Enjoy.
The commission is in recess for 1 hour. La commission en avait pour 1 heure.
Hello, Chris. Hello, everybody. Wow, what an active chat today. What an active chat. Just 1 second, Chris.
No problem.
You got this, Charlie. Yep. Joe, I'm not sure what that means. I go check my Twitter. Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure what that means. And if anybody has Stunt's contact, I haven't seen him. He hasn't popped in yet. So if he's got some tech issues, let me know. Maybe try and help him out. Wow. What crossing. Wow. Have you been watching it, Chris?
Most of it, yeah. Yeah, just insane. I've been following Sheila Gunn-Reid and Chipping, I think was her name, the lawyers that are posting and stuff as well. I've been kind of going back and forth, but I caught the good bits, that's for sure. From my understanding, from what I missed, if there's more, wow, even still.
Okay, and your audio, you're very low. So if you can maybe go a little bit closer to your mic. That's the only complaint we've gotten, Chris, is your audio gets a little low.
I will say that my new microphone did arrive about an hour ago, but I didn't want to use this as a test run and waste any time. I'll speak a little louder this time, but for tomorrow it'll be good to go and moving forward as well, unless it's a piece of junk, but I don't think it will be.
No, we can get what you're saying. We can kind of make it out. So thank you for joining us. So yeah, if you missed it, we started off with David. Oh, his last name's fun. from the Ottawa Police Services. He went in there with a scalpel. He was digging around. He was definitely pulling out a lot of the command issues. It was clear that Peter Sloly is not a very good reviewer of documents, a retainer of information, and those are like two of the most important key things you need to be doing if you're going to be a decision maker. You don't have the luxury to ignore all the information when you're a decision maker, especially a commander. So this is shocking at the level of, I would say, unprofessionalism when it comes to documentation and intel on his part. And that's being kind. Because we even heard at one point, it sounds like he wiped his phone before he handed it over, wiping it of all text messages and stuff. That's an allegation that hasn't been proven. And we're not the CBC. So when I say that, the CBC likes to take the lawyer side of the microphone and call that evidence and testimony, and then use it in some fashion. We've seen that many times during this inquiry. To everybody out there, that is not testimony. Lawyers are not under any oath, and a question is not a statement. So when you see the CBC saying, lawyer said, right there, they're breaking all the rules. Lawyers can say whatever they want. That is not testimony. What's incredible is the CBC is not saying what the witness said, because in a lot of times, the lawyer said comment that they're using has been refuted by the witness. So they're taking a statement that was even refuted. So incredible to watch this.
Was it confirmed? Sorry, was it confirmed that it was, because I was listening to the testimony there, and even when I put a tweet out, I said apparently his phone was wiped, because it's not, you have to have that validation. But was he blaming the tech people? Like when he said when he gave it over, it was fine. When he got it back, it was wiped? Or?
No, he's denying it, and he has no follow-up. So he wouldn't know. It wasn't given back to him. So he got no follow-up. But the question alluded to the fact that this was an issue. It was wiped. I've never heard someone bring up a fact like that because they're just reaching or fishing. It's because they have information and they know. So, yeah, what I do suspect is, he just wiped his phone, did like a factory reset, handed over. I don't think it's going to help him any. Text messages would have been saved and backed up. But the act of doing it might come back and haunt him, because that would be destruction of property, because digital is property, and that would have been owned by OPS. Every single text message to that phone is property of OPS.
Obstruction, yeah.
Right, and obstruction's another charge that it could be, and destruction of evidence could be another one. So there's a few that can happen if you do that. But in either case, right now it's an allegation. He denied it, and I don't think we're going to hear any testimony about it. But we'll see, because this is the last OPS witness. After this, it's convoy and then government. So and then government and privy and stuff like that. Stretching, you're going to reach out to him. That's fine. And if Stunt can't make it, look, he's a busy person. I really respect him. So if you can't make it, don't sweat it. There's plenty of time, and we'll make it happen there. Stunt. It's all good. We got Chris and we got me, so we can fill up the air. I don't know what that means. Oh, the nuts on the bookends. Ellen, you're awesome. So if, Chris, you missed this, testimony came out that Chief Sloly said something along the lines of cutting the nuts off of someone or denutting somebody and using them as bookends.
I caught it. I did.
Yeah, wow. He denied it, but I could see that kind of comment. It does sound like something he would say. He does seem to be very abrasive.
You'd be surprised at how common that phrase is used behind the scenes.
Yeah, so if the protesters go back, it should just be roasted nuts on the barbecue, ball pits, those kind of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then invite the chiefs and invite everybody. Bring your balls. Let's have a good time. Maybe some street ball or something.
Was it said enough? Was it said like early enough that we might even see some Halloween costumes presented tonight? I wonder.
Hey, I had a question for my Twitter. I kind of took it down right away because I didn't know if it was appropriate or not. But if you wear a Trudeau blackface mask, is that allowed? I don't know. Is that allowed? Like, just go get a mask of his picture? Is that allowed? It's our prime minister. Are we not allowed to wear our prime minister's photos? I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't want to find out.
I've seen some parents dressing their kids up as vaccines and stuff, which might draw some interesting attention as well.
Well, the scariest thing would be the Emergencies Act. Just walk around as the Emergencies Act. You can pull that out and use it anytime you want.
Yeah.
And it looks like Stunt is going to make his way, which is great. I don't know much about Stunt Dummy other than he was very active during the protests. He was there. He's a witness to a whole bunch of things. I believe he's got some YouTube and channels. He's quite popular. People love him. We love him. He popped into the chat Friday. Been amazing ever since. And our chat's now full of heroes, people who were involved in the convoy itself. Beautiful. So railroaded. Charlie C seems to be involved in it. Stunt himself. So thank you to everybody who's come across this and starting to spread the word. I definitely want to keep connecting to the participants of the protest. On all sides, look, there was a little bit in the chat about, me having respect for Tom Curry, the lawyer for Sloly. Don't misinterpret my respect for professionals as respect for their clients. It's a very different thing. I respect the legal profession. It's a tough job, and Tom's got a tough job ahead of him for sure. He's got a hole to dig out of. So, Chris, the parts that you did see, are you surprised, or is this kind of what we were thinking because of the disorganization we saw during the event? And we would hear convoy organizers and participants complain about not having contact and coordination. So are you really surprised, or is this kind of what we were expecting?
I think it's what I was expecting, right? It's just what tools of verification are we going to see? Right. I still think that there is a lot of underlying agendas going on behind the scenes. Even one of the things I noted today was the officers attributing, like directly taking notes on other officers. I think that that to me is quite a big red flag. I've done FOIs a lot, and FOIing RCMP officers. That is not. I never saw that. Like that was not something. You would have who's on site, time, date, location, but no attributing of taking notes of how a person's behaving and what's being said. So there's a lot of cover your butt there. Yeah. Knowing that things aren't going on, things are happening, and they may have to answer for it down the line. At the same time, it's when another part was the Mendocino communications with regards to global and waiting for the article to come out. I think that's one of the biggest things. I'm waiting to see if Rupa and True North pick up on, write an article about that, because that really confirmed what we've all suspected. I mean, I always figured that Rosemary Barton and Katie Telford are, texting all day to keep their story straight. But to have something in writing where they're communicating behind the scenes and waiting for an article, and then go back and check the date and try and nail down which article were they waiting for and how is it framed. And you can identify the reporter maybe that was working on it. There's still some gray area there with it, but it's compelling and good for us to be able to confirm that, yes, behind the scenes there is dialogue between the media and the government, neither of which I think they should not be involved in this. I keep looking back at it going, okay, now we got the PMO confirmed being involved, confirmed being involved. What are they even doing in that scenario, right? They should be receiving updates and not making the decisions, in my opinion, right? It's like the law enforcement, you're supposed to have that separation of powers there, right? And I just see the law enforcement working for the government. They're supposed to be protecting the charter, in my opinion, right? Make sure everything is going right. But today, all we have seen is a combative memory loss. He won't even address things. I mean, it's a tactic, right? You want to kill time. You say, I'm not going to discuss that, acknowledge it, whether it's true or not, unless you can pull that email up. And we saw that a few times. But overall, not surprised, man. Not surprised. Good to verify. What will come out of it? Who knows, right?
Well, I think the biggest damning piece that came out this morning for me was the January 24th text message, which basically was a message. Again, January 24th is pretty early. The trucks haven't even arrived yet. They were arriving on 27th, 28th. So this is before the trucks even arrived. Oh, they're stunned. And what the text message said was, it was setting up a framework for the PM and Blair to use the previous narrative from the year before about January 6th. So on January 24th, 2022, way before the first truck rolled in, they were already massaging this January 6th narrative by in text message talking about, hey, you know, PM and Blair, Minister Blair, they remember their comments last year about January 6th? Well, that might be part of the narrative and the framework this time. Wow. I think that message alone is wow. So before a single truck rolled into Ottawa, they were already prepping with the PMO's, Prime Minister's office, a narrative around January 6th. And I guarantee you, if somebody put step one foot on that hill towards one of the doors or even pulled the handle, they would have opened the doors, let people rush in, do the same thing, and then have all the pictures they were wanting. It's clear to me, at least on January 24th, they wanted more. They were not even looking to get them to disperse or talk because they're already pulling up a year ago narrative. Let's recycle it. To me, that was one of the biggest ones that came out today. When that, like the nuts stuff was funny, but this was, wow, wait a minute. The 24th, this is an important thing because it's before they rolled in. And here we are. Hey, Stunt, I don't know if you can hear me. Sorry about that. I was just finishing up that thing. And Chris, I'll get to you in a sec. But Stunt, if you can hear me, just give us a hey.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you are, bud.
What's going on? Good to be here.
Yeah, so how's your paycheck and payroll going? I might have to give him another raise tonight.
Yeah. Well, this is a labor of love. It doesn't make much money, but it's very rewarding in other ways. The future depends on us. And yeah, there's a lot of people who don't really know what's going on or what went on. And it's very rewarding to show them the truth because I'll tell you, I'll basically tell you how I got started, all right? I was never a protester. I was never an activist. I was very much, I believe in government. Well, I was around activism and stuff, but like First and Second Amendment in the States. Never thought that we had problem with government or rights or anything here. I was very much pro-police. When the pandemic started, I believed in the government, medical science and all this stuff. And I went and I got 2 vaccines and I was a masker. But I lived in Ottawa. I have been a resident of Ottawa my whole life. I was born in a Louisville heavy wrecker. My dad built most of the tow trucks in Ottawa. Okay, so I've been around tow trucks. I'm a trucker. I'm a heavy truck mechanic. I know all the truckers, tow truck drivers, all that stuff in Ottawa. So I was a YouTuber. I made mechanic streams from Discovery Channel and stuff like that and had nothing to do with the convoy or whatever. I just seen a video of Pat King and he was like, the convoy is on its way to Ottawa. I grew up listening to trucker music and stuff and I'm like, hey, I would like to see a convoy. I don't really care why they're coming. It's a convoy, right? So I went down there with my camera. I did my first live stream ever. I brought my sister's kid. And there was no hate, there was no racism, there was no Nazi flags, there was absolutely nothing but air horns, and me and her were the only ones there wearing masks. So basically what happened was I went home that night thinking that that was it for me, and I seen the mainstream news lying about the Nazi flags and all that stuff, and I knew it wasn't true. So it became my mission. I quit my job, and I went back to the convoy all day, every day, and I interviewed police, I interviewed people of color, I asked them about racism, Nazi flags. I have so many clips of all the cops saying nothing. World's most peaceful protest, there's no hate, there's nothing here. And yeah, it was honestly unbelievable. The feeling of unity and love and patriotism was so electric in the air that there is nothing that could possibly compare to it unless you went to like Woodstock or something, because this was like truck stock. Okay, and I was totally unaware of WEF and all that stuff, right? Everything we're told to worry about with the government. So I started getting lots of emails and getting lots of people that I thought were telling me crazy things. And they were like, this is too peaceful. They're mentioning January 6th. They're going to want something that makes this not peaceful. So you need to like get the evidence, right? And then I'm telling you, and you can see it on my streams, we have police with budget trucks that are fake budget trucks driving around with boxes of these weird things, and we don't even know what they were, but they were going into this weird building that was supposed to be the Royal Bank, and we caught them in undergrounds, and I totally believed there was a false flag coming. Because I had so many people telling me Trudeau does not want this to happen, yous are way too peaceful, and the only way that this is going to end as if they bring the violence. Watch for it. So while the other guys were like in trucks interviewing truckers and stuff, I was touring around trying to get evidence of what cops were doing and not, interviewing cops about Nazi flags and stuff, because I felt like it would be important down the road. I had all kinds of people that were on my team, like Railroaded and Charlie C and stuff, that were feeding me tips all day. Like, okay, now they're saying there's truckers breaking into the homeless shelter to get food and showers. Go see. And literally, I'm telling you, I was there every single day. There was not even a cigarette butt on the ground. No exaggeration. The video shows it. There was not even a cigarette butt on the ground. There was no problems like they were talking about. I toured around every day, checking on Terry Fox, the War Monument, the homeless shelters, looking for urine or feces anywhere, in any snowbank or anything. Absolutely every single thing that they were saying about us was a lie. And it became a mission to me where I was like, I was there to get the evidence. And believe me, we have the evidence of absolutely everything they have said about us is a lie, including when they're talking about the broken windows. I will find the video for you. The windows that they're talking about being broken were not broken. If you went to the corner of Rideau and Sussex, there's a bank at the corner. They boarded up all the windows with plywood, but they were too stupid to make sure that you couldn't fit a camera through the crack and see that the windows were not actually broken behind the plywood. It was all a lie. McDonald's had signs on the window saying, watch out for the broken glass. I showed it 50 times. The sign was on windows that weren't broken. Everything. When they talk about Rideau Center, I lived in Ottawa. I was already a streamer. I was already a trucker and all that. I was insanely excited to get down there. I was the first streamer there from Ottawa. And I was in Rideau Center because it was the first live stream I ever did. I had no idea how to do it. I literally started it up inside Rideau Center on day one. And they're talking about the food court being full of freedom fighters and all this. Man, I have the live stream. There was one obvious convoy person in there, and all he did was offer the security guard standing at the door a coffee. That was it. It's all on video. It was not full of people trying to stay warm. It was not full of people harassing businesses and maskers in the food court. It's all a lie. Every single thing they have said about us is a lie. And it is all on video. Dude, I know I have a friend who owns 7 restaurants in the Byward Market. It was not us who shut them down. It was the police who went there and said, if you allow anybody to use your public bathroom, Health Canada will be here to shut you down. So have your choice. Either you shut down on your own or let these people in to use your bathroom and stuff, and we will shut you down. I interviewed, I don't know how many people who were working in the places that were open down there, and every single employee in the Byward Market told us, this is not the convoy shutting these places down. They were shut down from 2 years of mandates long before the convoy came. You know, like, we have it all. I don't know what exactly you want to hear. In my opinion, the best evidence that we have that we've been lied about is the fact that I used to have a condo on Charlotte Street in Ottawa, which is approximately, it's less than a kilometer away from where the red zone was, okay? It's on Wellington Street, which actually turns into Rideau Street. Same street. Charlotte is off that, kilometer away from the red zone at most. That's where the Russian embassy was. And 3 days after the convoy went, I was still in Ottawa, and I had subscribers telling me they blamed us for blocking the roads and stuff. The convoy's been gone for 3 days. Go see if the barricades are removed and if freedom is restored for the snowflakes in Ottawa. Okay, so I went down there to see the barricades. I had to park my vehicle far away from downtown because I've had cops pulling me over at gas pumps, pulling me over for no reason, sitting outside my house, planting stuff in my vehicle. I have kept it far away, even when the convoy was over. So I'm walking down there to record barricades on Wellington Street, and I can see, what in the world? There's all kinds of cops up Charlotte Street, downtown. So I'm like, well, I'm going to go see what's going on. I started walking up the street, live stream running, and I'm telling you, the entire street was painted red. It looked like a war took place there, and the Ukrainian protesters legitimately destroyed this city, and it never made the news. The news was there. I was there, and within 10 minutes, I talked to a guy All the police were there because he was assaulted by the Ukrainian protesters in front of the Russian embassy. They threw paint all over the embassy. They painted the sidewalk, the streets, the barricades. They had tons of people standing on residential lawns across from the Russian embassy. Garbage everywhere. The first day. Assaults, litter, damage, and the Nazi symbolism, man. There was pictures of Hitler and swastikas everywhere there, as well as birdseed littered all over the ground, and people screaming that if the Russians would eat the birdseed before getting killed, at least their body would be good to fertilize the flower that would grow from it and stuff. Like serious violence, serious assaults, serious actual Nazi symbolism and stuff. And guess what? CTV and CBC didn't report it, but they were doing loops around the neighborhood and honking like crazy in support of this 3 days after we were terrorists for honking downtown. And in my opinion, to prove that MSM is lying about us, the best way to do that is 3 days after all this stuff they said about us, it actually happened there and never made the news. So they clearly have an agenda against us. Your mic's off, bro.
Let me ask you a few questions, Stunt. Yeah, I got to shut the mic. There's some background noise here while you're chatting. So one of the things we heard testimony of so far was the fake news misinformation about selfies by the police officers. So we were told that those selfies, that any of the ones that we saw, they were fake, and any police officer who took a selfie was doing so under duress and threat of violence if he didn't do so. I don't think that's true, and you certainly have plenty of video that shows that otherwise. Do you think at any point any single officer felt intimidated by the actual crowd at any point?
No, not at all. Absolutely not at all. I seen one that pretended to. It was actually really weird, and it's something that should definitely be seen because, like I said, I have a team of people informing me what's going on. So I was down at the convoy, and all of a sudden I heard I needed to get to Coventry Road because there was something about to happen there. So I had my buddy, he was downtown waiting. He jumped in his vehicle, picked me up, took me to Coventry. I was one of the first people there. They had snipers on the roof, and this is when they were there without warrant, which I knew the whole time. And they're now saying it, I think it was on Friday on your show at the Inquiry, that they did not have a warrant for the fuel truck they stole. Okay, well, I was there. I recorded that, and I was trying to talk to them, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're going down in history for doing this, right? And it was so wrong. But anyhow, I couldn't talk sense into them. So I went to leave, and I crossed the street, and I was heading back downtown, and I had a cop come and grab me and tell me that I can't be coming here. I had already been there. I wasn't coming. I was going. And he was like grabbing me by the backpack and stuff, and he was acting like he felt intimidated. But I was leaving. It was clear fake fear. You know, and like, how intimidated do you feel when you're the one that has snipers on the roof of this place and stuff? Okay, so that truck that they stole, people don't know all this, but that truck that they stole, I was, because I'm a mechanic and a trucker, I made friends with the mechanic. There was a trailer at the convoy of mechanics and vets who were shoveling off the war monument and that, and fixing any trucks that broke down there if they needed heat or whatever. So I became friends with them, talked to them and stuff, and I was there. The next day after that happened on Coventry Road, without warrant, the police were made to return that fuel. And it was like $50,000 in fuel. And they were so mad that they took it without warrant. They hijacked it at gunpoint and were made to return it. They returned it full of gas and water. And I was there streaming in the mechanic trailer while the mechanics were trying to separate the water from it and filter out the sugar so that the truckers could stay alive that night. Like, they're talking about us, but we have the evidence to prove just how corrupt and wrong everything they did was.
Do you feel like they were just provoking you, or were they just being jerks? Like, were they trying to provoke more out of you, or were they just being jerks with their authority? And Chris, go ahead and you can ask the next question if you want to get one ready.
I feel like they're trying to intimidate all the live streamers because they know MSM is on their side. MSM is working for Trudeau. MSM doesn't give two hoots about the truth. And they know that streaming is the new media. And with us following them around and showing their budget trucks and sneaking into underground parking lots and Royal Bank buildings with weird boxes and stuff, they couldn't do what they wanted to do. We made it impossible for them. And they had no choice but to bring violence to what was peaceful. There was absolutely nothing there that was not peaceful. Nothing at all. I was like, so, man, like, I was red pilled there. Big time. Big time. I never felt like I couldn't believe governmenters. I used to do business with cops. I have a lot of friends who are Ottawa police officers. After what happened there, I have nothing to say to them. I'm sorry. But like, you broke my heart and crushed my patriotism and my belief in our rights and our charter and stuff. It hurts. We didn't do anything to you, and we didn't do anything illegal, and we didn't do anything that was outside of what our rights allow. We inspired the entire world, and these lying cops and lying politicians and lying news are making us vilified for nothing. You know, and then to say that, dude, everything they say is a lie. The counter protest that happened at the corner of Riverside Drive, my sister works there. My sister recorded the counter protest as it was happening. They legitimately blocked off a main artery of Ottawa. Nobody needs to go down Wellington Street in Ottawa unless you're going to the Parliament building. There's nothing there. It goes to Quebec. There are 4 other bridges that go to Quebec. You don't have to take that one. Nothing was being blocked off. But the counter-protesters really did block off traffic. Did you see the cops? It wasn't the truckers that shut down Ottawa. It was the cops with their Nazi-style checkpoints asking for papers and identification. Dude, I lived in Ottawa my whole life, but I was 2.5 hours away from Ottawa when the convoy happened. I changed my address to an Ottawa address again so I could be there because they were actually checking IDs and stuff, because if you weren't from Ottawa, they didn't want you there. Yeah, and it's like, everything they say is a lie. It was them shutting down the city, not us, them. You know, the convoy was like 1 square kilometer that would have affected anything, and it was downtown. And even when they say like, oh, they were honking all night and stuff, no, they absolutely weren't.
And we got some of that out of Brendan about the blocking in and stuff like that. So he's getting that testimony coming out, which is great. I didn't know about the checkpoints outside the city, checking residents and stuff like that. Was that the OPP doing those? And sorry, Chris, you got the next one.
Well, it's really hard to say who it was, because at the convoy, they weren't wearing badges. They weren't wearing name tags. A lot of them were just wearing numbers like A246 or whatever, and they were identified by a convoy troop, not by who they really were or where they came from. So I don't know who they were, but I have videos of them, and they're absolutely cops doing Nazi-style checkpoints and will not allow anybody anywhere near downtown. Even when that raid happened at Coventry Road illegally, they had Riverside Road blocked off for 2 hours. I got in a cab and they wouldn't let me anywhere near it. I had to get out of my cab and walk to Coventry Road to stream that. All the traffic jams that Ottawa thinks happened because of the convoy, no, it happened because the police couldn't handle the peaceful protest.
Hey, Stan, I just wanted to know, did you submit any of your video and your film to any of the organizations so to be presented or available as evidence at the EA? And if you could let us know what your handles are and where we can go and see that footage that you've put together, that'd be great.
Well, first I'll tell you that yes, I have been contacted, and the convoy lawyers have access to all of my videos, the ones that I expect them to use the most, because there's a lot, right? And I haven't had time to clip everything important because there's just too much. But I was contacted because what happened was I had subscribers pay for me to get a hotel room that overlooked the corner of Rideau and Sussex, and I had live streams running there all day and all night. So I'm probably the only one that has this footage, because once the convoy was broken up, everybody left. I was there. I was inside the red zone with a hotel on like the 16th floor or something. And they literally brought in front end loaders, and they were dragging trucks around. They make it sound like they bought all these tow trucks and, you know, they were respectful and whatever. They were not. They were dragging trucks around with front end loaders. They were putting burn barrels that were up on roofs through windshields. They were taking all of our Canadian patriotic signs and tossing them into piles like garbage. And I even have it all recorded. When the whole thing started, and they're talking about assaultive behaviors at the corner of Rideau and Sussex, nonsense. And what they don't know is I was up there recording the entire time, and they should know, because I recorded the snipers on the roofs across from me. I recorded them peeking in my bedroom window with a drone. Dude, you would not believe how well those cops were treated with food and rooms and catering. It was unbelievable. And like the hotel I had, there's an underground road behind it. And it's kind of like a tunnel that may be about 500 feet long. When I went to check into my hotel that day, the day that all that stuff was happening, there was like 500 cops with machine guns around my hotel, and they didn't want to let me in and stuff. And then I was like, I have a room here. You have to let me in. The hotel came out and got me and brought me in there and stuff. But I started recording right away. There was like no assaultive behaviors or anything going wrong except for them, because you know what they were doing? They were arresting people, taking them to, there was hundreds of cop cars and Greyhound buses, not hundreds of buses, but like tons of cop cars and police vehicles mixed in and parked behind my hotel in the tunnel. They had it blocked off and brought in Greyhound buses full of cops from Vancouver and stuff. But these cops were arresting people who were peaceful, sticking them in the back of cop cars with the windows cracked with no heat, cars not running, and they left them there all day. They were being tortured in the back of cop cars behind my hotel. You know, we have all of this. That's why I've had so much problems with the cops, you know, and it's like, I totally feel like I'm on a list now. I really don't care. I've had them at my house. I have pictures, you know, I have them pulling me over at gas pumps. The last day I was in Ottawa, I got pulled over on Riverside Drive by the RCMP. For what? Because my van was bright green. That's why. And I haven't gone through my clips or anything, because I'm now making sure that my van is 100% road legal, painted, and more able to be incognito, because it stood out like a sore thumb. It was jacked up in bright green. You know, so I was easy to identify, and I've been pulled over many times with no fines, no warning, no reason. You know, they can tell me nothing other than, well, you're suspicious. They pulled me over one day at gas pumps 2 hours away from Ottawa and told me that they had a report that I was driving and shooting a gun out the window. I've never shot a gun in my life. If they truly believed that, they would have searched my vehicle. They could not, because I fire up the phone and start recording and stuff. You know, so the phone really protects us, and they really hate it. Unfortunately, I have every video backed up on many external hard drives and stuff, and they're never going to get rid of it. They can do what they want to me, but the truth is there.
Yeah, I'd like to get a drive off you. I wouldn't mind being a backup for you as well.
Sure.
All that. Yeah, I'll send you a drive or pay for the cost, but whatever. If you can back that to me, I'll get it stored for a long time. Because Stunt, what I'm trying to do also is collect all this information from the inquiry videos, because at some point I do intend to win as an MP, and I'll use my MP power to open up all of the doors and all the filing cabinets and get back in there and call for some action. There's two particular videos that I'm really, really pissed about that I want to follow up on. That's the one where they were kicking the trucker in front of the Live from the Shed. So we saw that video. And the one where they shot the Rebel News female reporter with the canister. There is a gentleman there that was caught on video. He's not Canadian. He doesn't even speak English, whoever that guy was. But I want to find him, because what he did there was unforgivable. And I got to find the police who were beating up one trucker on the video from Live from the Shed. Those are my two missions. I want to go find out who these people were, all the cops that were standing around, and hold them all accountable, because that's what the law says. And I'm not, trying to write new law. I'm just trying to invoke it. Invoke the Emergency Act, and we'll invoke the criminal code. And that's what I'm trying to do. Now, I think you did two things that were amazing, and you spoke about, and I want to kind of cover both of them with you. The first one is your experience in tow trucks, and tow truck driving, and being a tow truck driver. We've heard plenty of testimony now that they all thought their life was in danger and they were going to be wiped off this earth. I would like to know the truth. I think I know the truth about their motives and not participating.
They're truckers, man.
Exactly.
They're on our side.
Yeah, they were supportive, not anything else. Yeah. So thanks for clarifying that to everybody listening. We all suspected that. They supported it. We even saw Herb's heavy tow from not Van Cleet Kill, but near Van Cleet Kill, just on the 417. They came down and they parked. So we had some heavy tow actually participating.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is, I think you're 100% correct that streamers was the Achilles heel for them. That was the unknown for them. They didn't plan on that. You, Zot, Viva, the list goes on. Ottawax. There was even that guy from Toronto. He was pretty good. But I think could be, and also that is like 69, Travel 69.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He was fun. But I would like to get a lot more of your video played and some of the stuff that you captured, because it sounds like you were less in front of the scenes, showing the party, and more of the investigative side of things and following the police. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. They all had like the interviews and getting the stories out and stuff with the truckers, and I was like dealing with the cops. Dealing with the cops and the mainstream news to prove everything they said was a lie.
Yeah, and I think this is what led to Bill C-11.
I agree.
100%. I think after that, they said, all right, we got to have a stop the streamer button, because that didn't help their narrative at all. And I think that's exactly why it crumbled. Streamers and nonviolent, that wasn't their plan. They thought it was going to go the other way. Because they wanted a Jan 6 narrative, and they wanted to bring down permanent restrictions on us. That's what I believe. So when you say... Go ahead.
They just never expected it to be that peaceful. That is, who would, man? How do you get that many people together and literally have no problem? None. They even acted, I totally expected them to act like that was going to be a super spreader event and use that as a reason to shut it down. They couldn't. They didn't. The day one, I wore a mask, and then I was like, I was there all day. Nobody tried to take my mask off. I had a 16-year-old niece with me. Nobody did it to her. They didn't even say a thing to me. It was welcome. Thanks for being here. No problems at all. And it's like, okay, I was there for almost 3 weeks or whatever. Dude, everybody was screaming freedom at the top of their lungs with no masks. I walked through thousands and thousands and thousands of clouds of mixed air. I never got sick. I never seen a person cough. I never seen a person there with a mask. And I checked the numbers, and you can check them yourself. COVID went down during the convoy. It went down, So I don't want to turn your channel into that, but I'm just saying that even that I thought would be a reason to shut it down. It was not there. So it's like,
I appreciate that.
Expected to be that productive and peaceful. It was amazing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I already got a strike for vaccine information, so if I get another one, I'm off for a week. So thank you for being cautious there. And by the way, we never did vaccine and misinformation, but there you go. We got the strike anyways. I just had the title, and that was enough.
Oh no.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Big tech, right? So I'm starting to feel like in the air that there might be something more coming, that there might be something. I'm not asking for any details nor a confirmation of anything.
Well,
can you smell it? Can you smell it?
I have seen it. The Trump convoy is getting ready to go today. So, yeah. And it's probably starting up here again soon.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm excited about that. Keep me abreast, more behind the scenes. Let me know how I can help get the message out. Have you worked with the convoy organizers during that, like Tom Marazzo or Chris or any of them?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I will talk to you in private about. I don't want to speak for everybody, but yeah, I was at Coventry Road and dealing with some organizers and that. I did some fundraising for them and stuff, and I'm not really sure what I should be saying about other people's business, you know.
Sure, that's fair.
I'm not a paralegal or a lawyer or anything. I am actually a dummy, you know. But yeah, I think what you're doing is great, and I really believe in you. And I would love to get you in there and, you know, get the full truth out of what happened. And I think that we could definitely do that. It's not over yet. My plan, I got a lot of footage to make a documentary about the truth. And now I feel like the best thing to do is, because you got all the Inquiry Act clips and all that stuff, and I have all the clips to prove they're all lying. So I think at this point is when this is done, we just make a documentary that lets them testify to the country and then show the clip that, yeah, it's not true.
That's what I was thinking. Juxtaposition it. So we'll show them saying, no, it was horrible and it was violent. There was poop everywhere. Because the first day we heard that everywhere. We heard she had to walk around it. She had to be delicate. There was piles everywhere. So we could show that testimony and then show the white snow.
There was literally not a cigarette butt. Not one. And I know that sounds like an exaggeration, but anybody who watched my streams every day knows I could not even find a cigarette butt. You know, like the streets were shoveled and clean. Man, do you know that I met a guy there and it was on live stream. I had the hotel still there after the convoy was broken up. And do you know that in Ottawa, if you didn't follow the science, if you know what I mean, then you were not allowed entry into the homeless shelters. So yeah, they were forcing people who didn't do what they were told to do in their arm to go and sleep outside. They don't get fed, they don't get heat, they got nothing. So when the convoy came, all the homeless people in Ottawa were at the convoy. They were all being fed and being helped and standing around the burn barrels and stuff. And you know, I actually met a guy who, because he couldn't get into the shelter after the convoy left, he ended up with frostbite on his fingers, and he was going the next day to have his fingers removed. Like, there is so much of this story that nobody knows, and it all has to come out because the cops and the government did people so wrong. They did them so wrong. And it's like, it's hilarious, man, because I'm listening to your show while working and they're talking about the jerry cans and how gasoline is so dangerous around open fires and stuff. Man, trucks run on diesel. Diesel does not flash. It is completely not an issue at all around open flame. It needs to be under high combustion or it's not going to explode. You know, they're talking about all these gas. There was no gas there. Very, very little gas there. It was all red jerry cans because most people don't need diesel, but they need gas for their lawnmower, their chainsaw. If they run out in their car, everybody has a red jerry can. But all this testimony about all the gas dangers and stuff, it was not there. Like they don't even know what they're talking about. Okay?
Well, the good news for you there, Stunt, is no testimony have supported that. Only the questions from the lawyers so far. So you would get Paul Champ say, hey, the propane tanks were dangerous. There's stacks of them. It was going to blow up and stuff like that. And he would ask that question, but he's not being corroborated. So even the OPP said they weren't concerned. They weren't going to be laying charges for anybody that was doing that. I know that the OPS was asking them to, but the OPP declined. Because there's nothing illegal about water, and they weren't going to start investigating that. So it's really only the question askers who are kind of putting that narrative out there, which is great for CBC because that's where they do all their clipping. But the testimony, we're not getting corroboration from the OPP, the OPS, or even the city that they genuinely had concerns about the fuel or anything like that. I think it was more of a hassle to stop truckers from having heat than anything else. But the narrative for the general public, because you're not going to say, hey, we wanted to freeze people in February. The general public is going to be dangerous, safety. That was a concern. And you can hear Paul Champ really repeat that like every single time he takes a breath. So good news is we're not getting that corroborated through testimony. It is being asked, but we're not getting corroborated. So that's kind of good news. But as you've pointed out, and we've all seen many times, it doesn't really matter sometimes what the testimony and truth is. It's what the mainstream will put out and the government will support. So I agree with you. I think independent journalists, independent streamers, everything that we're trying to do here is the only crack in the dam that we can try to expand. And hopefully that dam will break. I would love to work with you, Stunt, and some other people to try and put together something like a documentary.
Sure.
Yeah, we can try and find some ways to work on that. So let's keep that ball going, and we'll have plenty of clips from this inquiry. We'll start Brendan Miller. Like he's going to love this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you count me in on that one there, Stunt.
They talk about, they make it sound like Ottawa was so put out. And Ottawa was like, they're so hateful of us and all that. And, I'm in Ottawa, man. I don't hear this. And it's not just because I hang around with truckers. I have lived in Ottawa my whole life. Everybody I went to school with, everybody I grew up with, they're not all truckers. They're not all patriots, but they are certainly not feeling put out by what happened there with the convoy. And it's ridiculous that they make it sound that way, because when I was there, literally, I saw one counter-protester the entire time that came within the red zone. One. She literally stood there all on her own with a sign calling us terrorists, and we went near her and offered her food and to keep her warm with a burn barrel. What do you need to, we believe in your rights and freedom too. We mean you no harm. We're using our rights. You are welcome to use yours. We are no threat to you. What can we do to help you be comfortable here? Honestly, it was a little bit funny that there was only one, because they just make it sound like Ottawa hates us. But there was one. Okay, you hear about the mainstream news saying they could not go there with their cameras because they were being chased away and they were being threatened and all that. It's not true. They were never there. Never. I was there the whole time. I seen one mainstream news camera within the convoy at all, and that was APTN News, which is Aboriginal news. Nobody threatened them. They just weren't there. They could not go there and record and put it on the news, because all it would show is peace, love, unity, togetherness, patriotism, and fun and joy. Like, what are you going to show? Kids enjoying themselves on bouncy castles, kids playing hockey in the middle of the street. There was nothing they could have showed and painted us like the terrorists they were trying to. Then, yes, they had counter-protesters on Riverside Drive and at City Hall. This was organized by CUPE. I don't know do you know what CUPE is?
Yeah,
CUPE
the union.
is a union for the teachers and that. They organized their union to come there because they hate Pierre Poilievre. They hate freedom and rights and the truckers. Dude, it's on their website. This was not an organic protest full of Ottawa's people that were mad. This was a union using their power to get their protesters out there, because that's what unions do. And it's still on their website. And as a matter of fact, they're about to do another teachers' protest I seen this morning. And I am really not happy that I can't go there and stream because my vehicle is down.
We saw Viva Fry. There was one video where he went up to a small group of counter protesters, very small, and he was trying to interview them and talk to them. But there was one person who was going around and whispering in everybody's ears to stay away and don't talk to him, and he's going to make you look stupid and stuff like that. So there was one, what you would call the agitator, who was going around coaxing these sheep who were just standing there with a mask and a sign. They weren't talking, they weren't answering questions, but they were being directed by one person. And we saw that a couple times, that there was certainly a professional protester and agitator involved, and who was trying to kind of coax or at least make it look like it.
Yeah, well, I definitely 100% believe that that's what was behind the protest at City Hall that had like 200 people. Because when there was an actual protest that had nothing to do with them, one person showed up. One. And, you know, I kind of feel like part of the reason that they had to shut us down also was, I don't know if you're aware, but there was Ottawa Race Weekend that happened in the spring, and they brought millions of people from all over the place. Like from countries everywhere came there to race and that. And this had been shut down. Ottawa Race Weekend had been shut down for like 2 years during the pandemic, and people had trained and exercised and went on diets and booked flights that they couldn't use because the pandemic prevented the event and stuff. And I truly believe, because it happened in the red zone, And it was not that much longer after the convoy was shut down. I think that the government, part of the reason was they didn't want to have to say that all these people had to cancel their flights and their hotels and stuff again. So they made it look like we were occupying the city, got us out, and then the city was legitimately occupied with millions of people. All the roads shut down for this marathon, way more shutdowns than anything that happened during the convoy. And, you know, it was all right. It doesn't matter if they shut down the roads and stuff. It doesn't even matter if they're not coming from Canada here. You know, but I feel like, yeah, they made us look, our crowd, look so bad so that they could shut us down and bring in a crowd of millions that weren't even, you know, Canadian for the most part. You know, there's a lot of reasons, but I feel like that one is one of them. And I got that feeling because I was down there streaming it, and I'm like, yeah, they didn't want to shut this down again.
And sorry, Chris, we didn't get a chance to talk much, but that's okay. We'll catch up. Yeah, you're here quite often. Stunt. Okay, so now once we get through this inquiry, we might do something else. We might go and do something in Ottawa again, peaceful, all that kind of stuff. Exactly what we did before. Mm-hmm. How are we going to hold Trudeau responsible? What would make your side happy if in the future some sort of inquiry, like he's never going to go to jail, we know that. He's never going to be personally held liable, we know that. But what do you think Canada would want to see happen as some sort of accountability for the Liberals, the cabinet? Should it be criminal? I think that'll be difficult, but what do you think would, okay, here's what I'm trying to get at there, Stunt. What would make you happy with the accountability stage if the Conservatives and some independents went in there in the 45th and did something? What would that something look like to you that would make you satisfied? Because we won't be able to get him in jail.
He has to go. He has to resign for what he did to us. And I truly believe that if there's any justice left, we all know. The evidence is already out at this inquiry that it was an illegal use of the Emergency Act. We know it. They all know it. So if he still has office after this, then I truly believe that there's going to be hashtag hold the line until he resigns. There's things coming, for sure. You know, nothing is solidified yet that I know of, but this is going to be an interesting winter, especially if he gets off with nothing, because I don't think he's going to.
Well, the next question is, we'll end up with Freeland if he resigns. Is that better, worse? Like, what would happen with Freeland? Because she's his boss on the global level.
Yeah, I don't know too much about her, other than I do not believe that she should be running this country. I definitely don't think that she would be any better. Well, maybe slightly better, but only because he's like a supreme dictator, you know, but not much better. Yeah, I really think like he should resign and hold an election. And I'm not a political guy. I'm a mechanic, so I could be saying something wrong, but I really believe he needs to go or hold an election. And if he doesn't do one or the other, the people are going to speak again.
Yeah, and because of that corrupt deal with the NDP, the elections aren't coming anytime soon. But we actually have some strategies. There's some ways we can maybe force the NDP to do a leader election or something and screw them up. But anyways, and Chris is nodding his head, because it would be great if PPC and CPC members just flooded the NDP party and then forced a leadership debate and supported a far more extreme version of Singh, which Canada wouldn't support. Anyways, there might be some tactics around that. But I do think that this inquiry might possibly, because Stunt, I'm starting to think they're done with him. They're done with their golden boy. That didn't work out the way they wanted it to, and I don't think they're pleased with their golden boy. So they might be looking to replace him. So we might see the Liberal Party have him leave, so Freeland takes over, because if they do an election, they lose. And I think Singh is going to hold on to that deal for as long as he can.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I don't think he's going to move. He's the most corrupt. So we know that Singh, Trudeau, and Freeland went to the Young Global Leaders program together. They're all buds. So this is kind of how they got this thing going. So what I heard you say was, maybe we need to push harder to ask him to leave or force him to leave. I think that would be tough. Okay, because I don't know if I want Freeland to be honest with you. I almost think that the let's just call him the teacher turned politician is kind of standing in their way and making things a little bit worse for them. So he might be using his unprofessionalism to actually help us a bit. Because I don't know what Freeland would do without bobbing of her head all that time. Like, what's she going to do? Is she going to come after everybody? She's already got some more financial tools in place. So I'm scared about that. I would like to see Trudeau be accountable, but I'm even more scared of Freeland than him. Chris, do you have a take on that one? Because I saw you nodding your head a bit on the Freeland concern as well.
I've kind of always held the opinion that she's been running the show from the beginning anyways, just with her connections over the time. Justin Trudeau looks to me more like a figurehead. He talks the nice game. He walks the walk. Don't ask him too many questions unless you want to get a bunch of uhs in response. But being finance minister and deputy prime minister, I think that it would be foolish to think she's not already. You can't compare the two. They've been at the hip since the very beginning, but I still think that if there's a pit bull in the group, when we see the freezing of the bank accounts and stuff like that, her laughing and smiling about it, I would say from the very beginning, neither one. Like, Trudeau needs to go, but I think that I'm on the same page with you that right now it might even be better to have Freeland out front because she's not very good at hiding her affect. So I would say put her out front. I'd rather, if we had to pick, get Trudeau gone and let her take the stage, and she'll sink herself very quickly because she can't relate. Talks to everybody like we're children. So I would much rather have that out there. Could put a bit more pressure on Singh to call an election when people start losing faith. Just to really highlight how unqualified these people are and how agenda-driven they are. I think she'd do a much better job at sinking the ship than he would. So I'm terrified of both of them. I just think they're useless.
That's a good point, because if she ended up taking over, that's not who we elect or the people elected, and she's not liked. She's not liked much at all. So maybe that's a good point, Chris. If she did take over, and she might be hated more. So that actually good point. That might be something. Stunt, what do you think of that? We know she's not welcome in Alberta, especially in elevators in Alberta. So she shouldn't come back here. But if she did take over, do you think Canada would actually dislike her more than they did with Trudeau?
Yeah, probably, because I don't know anybody that likes her. Everybody that I talk to, it's actually scary because I'm not into politics enough to even know that there was a possibility of her taking over until right now. That is scary. That's not good news. Basically, what I want is to get rid of Trudeau and have, bare minimum, somebody that is going to respect our right to peaceful assembly and peaceful protest and stuff, because without that, we have nothing. So my mission right now is get Trudeau gone, have somebody that bare minimum respects our rights, and get MSM gone. They got to go, especially because they will not show up at this inquiry. They're really lucky right now that I cannot make it to Ottawa, because believe me, I would be outside CBC honking and doing whatever it took until they walked down to that library and answered for their lies. Because without them lying, Trudeau could have never done what he did. Mainstream media is equally as guilty, and I've confronted them on it. I'll send you the video. It's pretty funny. They wouldn't even say a word. Yeah, I'll send you some clips on Twitter tonight so you can check them out.
That might be another thing we can look at doing, is an expose on CBC itself.
Mm-hmm.
A global.
Well, I got some things in store for them.
Because that might be one thing that shakes them up. You know how CNN is starting to clean house with the new owner. They're starting to clean house. Being exposed might be a way to do it. I'm hearing some inquiry stuff, so I'm just going to put the window up here. We may cut over to right away. But
give us his tags as far as how we get in touch with him. Sorry to interrupt. Just want to make sure I know how to find him after this.
I'm at Stunt Dummy Lives on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My URL is Stunt Dummy Lives. And on YouTube, I'm just Stunt Dummy. Actually, I think my URL on there is Stunt Dummy Lives too, but then I have a Stunt Dummy Clips channel.
Well, I'll tweet out a big thank you to you, and I'll include your stuff there so everybody can follow that as well and connect with you. Stunt, thank you so much for making the time, reaching out, telling your story, and being just a cool-ass dude. So thanks a bunch for being in Ottawa, filming all that. I think you're going to help tell the true story. And I think something pushed you. Something at that time pushed you. You did the vax, you did the mask, you were with the government, you were understanding, you were following along, but something pushed you. So thank God that happened.
Yeah,
and,
bro, they lied about the Nazi flags. I went home that night. I did 100,000 views on the first day of the convoy. 100,000 views. I went home and mainstream news was talking about Nazi flags. And right then and there, I'm like, okay, they're liars. If they'll lie about something that 100,000 people just not watched with their own eyes because it didn't exist, how much of the science are they lying about? You know what I mean?
Genius. Yeah, and you're 100%
I started
right.
going down the rabbit hole. I'm like, they're liars.
So how do you feel about that now? Or you feel like you got coerced into your
big time?
Yeah,
big time.
Sorry, brother. No problems, though? Nothing's hit you or anything? You're okay?
No, I feel okay and stuff. The only weird thing that's happened to me is I had an irregular heartbeat that is now gone. I have a normal heartbeat now.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if it's related or not, but yeah, that's it. That's the only change that I noticed.
Well, let's get their heartbeat up. Let's go expose them. Let's get in there. Let's show what you got. I'm very pleased. Thank God you came around our channel, shared your story. We're going to do something here, Stunt, no doubt. I know Chris is nodding his head too. He's going to want to get involved as well. Let's try and get your story out. Any closing comments, Chris, before we give it to Stunt to close up?
Look, just want to thank you both, and thanks Stunt for his work. Stay strong. And I look forward. I'm following him now on Twitter, and I'll do some digging into his material, and just keep soldering on, guys. We'll make it through.
Right on. Thank you very much. We're all in this together. Both of you are welcome to take any of my content and use it as you see fit, or not at all. It's up to you. Yeah, I appreciate what you're doing a lot. You know, I'm not the political go for office type guy or whatever. I'm the trucker that will go honk, that will go risk jail to protest and stuff, and it's not over yet. There is a lot more to come. I just have been spending the last couple of months selling everything I own, selling my house, and getting all my ducks in a row to make sure that when they come at me this time, there will be absolutely nothing they can do.
Order a lot?
Merci beaucoup, Stunt. Have you ever thought about Alberta? We'd love you out here.
You bet, brother. I hear that you're firing your RCMP and getting ready to consider separation. And I'm definitely, I have railroaded trying to find property for me down there. I got lots of friends from Alberta. Yeah, I'm going to go back to work and listen, but thank you very much for your time and have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.
We had a bit.
Well, would you look at that? We got back in time. Wow. Look at that. It didn't take long to ruin another day. If you were around during one of my commentaries, why I kind of got out of the legal profession is I ruin people's days because I do well. Yep, ruined another guy's day. Flew from Florida. He's not in a good mood today. He's not in a good mood today. He really should have settled before. Anyways, yeah, here I am kind of suited up a little bit here. You know, got to clean up. Normally I'm a little bit more shaved for court, but I was a plaintiff and I knew where I stand. I don't have to impress the judge. I was there, did my talking. It's one of the fastest settlement conferences I've had. And it's over first world problems. That's why I'm a little embarrassed to share it, because it's over, you know, an airplane, selling an airplane. Somebody had to die. Well, not had to die, but someone did die. It's just horrible. But maybe we'll get into that another day. It's all over now. Whoa, boy, just judging by your comments in the chat, this has been astonishing. I'm going to definitely be going back to watch this testimony because I missed, you know, roughly about an hour of it. I did have you in my ear quite a few of the moments, but it looks like right when I was doing court is when it got really good with the Canadian Constitution Foundation. I recognized him, and I know that they were going in hard. So it kind of sounded like, or at least looked like from the chat, that it was pretty harsh. Something weird was going on. And an objection with the commissioner himself. I'll have to look into what that was about. And the chat's talking about 3 people arrested outside of the inquiry. So, of course, I have no information yet. It's possible that they are protesting the inquiry itself because it's going horrible for them. In fact, I would actually understand why they would be protesting if they are, you know, Trudeau lovers, because this is not going well at all. So maybe that's why they're doing that. Wow, Mr. Green Thumbs at Ottawa. There's a whole bunch of new people in here and regulars. You are all amazing. It's going great. I'm getting amazing comments on my videos too. So there's a lot of you that are going out there, checking them out and putting comments. So thank you for that. I'm sure it all helps the algorithm and stuff like that. But personally, you know, thank you guys. There's a lot of sacrificing with the family, and I got to put a lot of time into these videos. And I'm one-man shop. I love my wife, but she's going to, you know, focus on making sure that we're all healthy and safe while I focus on the videos and stuff like that. There's two things I want to kind of throw out there. I am looking for somebody who wants to volunteer to be a moderator during these chats for the next little bit, because there's a lot of chats coming through now. So if anybody wants to, you know, be a moderator, just hit me up and we'll look at that. And if anybody knows video editing and wants to go through some clips and help put stuff together, I've got a little bit of funds that I can get together, because I kind of want to get started for Stunt Dummy and the documentary and all that kind of stuff that was coming out of that interview. I'm dead serious when I say I want to get involved and help get that done. And I want to get started now. So I have a little bit of personal funds. I guess thanks to the victory today, I can maybe just dedicate that to it. To you know, pay for somebody to help me edit some of the stuff, because there's a lot. So if you know anybody, you got a kid, you do it yourself, whatever, reach out to me. I'm not super rich, but we definitely need to start collecting some of this stuff. Wife, she's great, isn't she? And she, you guys saw her for a little bit there. She popped in to learn how to get rid of the bots. I don't know if there were any, but hopefully they were gone. I thought they were arrested for recording stuff. Please find out, people. Recording outside is not against the law, so that can't be it. Recording outside is not against the law. Interesting. If they were, the one thing that could get you in trouble outside of a courthouse or a government building and recording is if you're harassing people in and out, especially witnesses or anything like that. That won't be a good thing. So I'm sure we'll get a little bit more information. But if this is you know, supporters who are out there and they can't get in, and for some reason you got rid of them, I'd like to find out about that. Hey, Stunt, get out. You're a video editor. Get out. Oh my gosh. Film school too, Toronto Film School. All right, Stunt, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Very cool. We take an entire winter off to focus on. Dude, I'm with you. I am self-employed. I'm running for office. Winter, it's a little bit slow because we can't build a house during winter. So yeah, let's do the Stunt. Then maybe if we push it hard enough, we'll get it out on the anniversary, 1 year anniversary. Tom Marazzo's book is coming out on the 14th as well, I think. No, maybe we'll do something together. Tom's a supporter. Right on, Stunt Dummy. Yeah, let's support Stunt Dummy in this one. Let's do this. All right. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, we're not going to enter the Toronto International Film Festival or anything like that. You might get in there. But, you know, let's just focus on getting the truth out. And Stunt, let's do that. They can't arrest your eyes. No, but they can try and convince you to stop believing your lying eyes. We saw that quite a few times now. Their favorite word is context. That's just a simple way of saying I'm going to change what you see. We saw that around the video of the one protester getting assaulted with the business end of a gun. I'm not sure if any of you were around for that. I know some of my regulars were. But Stunt and Railroaded and all those guys. Do you want to know what they said about that particular protester? That they were, you know, I'm sure you saw the video where they snatched and grabbed him, pulled him back, a whole whack surrounded him, and one officer was hitting him with the business end of the gun. Well, the testimony was that officer that hit him with the business end of the gun had his leg entrapped. He was fearful that it was going to break, and he was pretty sure that that was his only way. So he used the business end to release his leg. And then he went to go see the paramedics because he was in so much pain. That was the testimony about that particular incident. I'd like Stunt or whoever else has got maybe that original video or you know what video I'm talking about that they played in court, because they only played a bit of it. I'd like to see what happens to that officer after. If we can put a little arrow above his head as he's walking around, let's see if this guy's limping, because I'll add him to my list of BS that we need to now follow up on. Because you don't use the business end of a gun and hit somebody with it. I don't care if you think you're entrapped by your leg. That was ridiculous. Twitter, I'll send you samples. Great. Cool, Stunt. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you better offline, look into your stuff, Stunt. I think we were brought together for a reason. Let's follow that through. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Railroad. I don't know if you got pom-poms, but you're quite the cheerleader. We love you. I know someone was arrested for filming and all. Filming what, though, Prairie? Filming what? I'd have to look into what. There's very few laws around filming in public. So filming what? I'd be very interested. And also filming things that you've been told or there's an injunction says you can't. That might be another way to get in trouble. I'm here volunteering in the mailroom. Yay! Railroad. Yeah, let's got you. Hey, Railroad, do you want to be a moderator? Let me know. The biggest thing we need is people to go through all the streams and grab them. Yeah, look, this is where the internet, this is where our group, you know, this is where we can really shine. We can definitely get some crowd together to kind of go through all of this. It's not crowdfunding, crowdsourcing the effort and get people involved in this. And we'll put all the credits at the end. Like, come on, let's make this one of the biggest independently generated documentaries that the world has seen. Hornley, you got it, Railroad. Let's make it a good V-Day. Honk, honk, honk. Let's go, let's go. Yeah, throughout my life, you know, my birthday would come up. I would get those comments, you know, oh, Valentine's baby, yada, yada, yada. Well, hopefully it's not going to be the EA baby anymore. Let's turn that into a celebration. Let's make February 14th the day that the Emergency Act was illegally used, and that was the beginning of the end of Justin Trudeau and his Liberal Party and his global friends. Let's celebrate that day as a victory day, V-Day for Victory Day. And let's just keep throwing that back at them. Every single year, we're celebrating Valentine's Day as a remembrance of the fatal mistake that Justin did on his career. I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Universe called. Knock, knock, knock. Hey, do you guys really believe in that universe thing? Because I do. Let me share a story with you because I may have enough time. My wife and I, we met clubbing. Okay, clubbing. DJ Tiesto, downtown Toronto, the Docks, when it was a real good place. And back when clubbing in Toronto was safe and fun. We met clubbing. She lived in Mississauga. I lived downtown Toronto. So I lived on Queen Street, just down the street from Much Music. That was a fun time. You know, that's a fun time living downtown Toronto. So I woke up one day and I'm in a shower. And in my head is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. It's just flying through my head. And then shortly after the song started, I'm like, how do you spell that? Now, just so you all know me, I'm a horrible speller, like horrible, horrible, horrible. So I'm a horrible speller. So I went and looked it up, and this was back in the MSN Messenger days when we're all using MSN to chat and stuff. So I put it in my little status thing, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Oh, 30 minutes or so go by. This is when Paula and I were just dating. My wife's name is Paula. And she pops up online. The little thing pops up. And then like the first thing out of her is, oh my God. I'm like, what? What's up? And we just started dating. And she goes, she was in the shower trying to figure out how to spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. She was in her shower trying to figure out how to spell that. And then she goes for a messenger, and sure enough, I gave her the answer. So if you don't believe in the universe that brings people together, you're not looking hard enough. I totally believe in that. Brought us together, brought us today together. So no, believe in it. If you're a good person, you do good things, you get rewarded. Karma is real. And Justin's going to find that out the hard way. So I do believe in that kind of stuff. I believe we're all connected, and I believe that not necessarily that there's a plan for us, but we definitely have a place and a role to play. So keep your ears open. Pom-poms, yay, railroad. What are you railroaded for? Like, where did your name come from? I would love to know that story. Hey, Stunt, I love you, Green Hearts. Was one of my first mods, and she does. Railroad's female? I didn't know that. Congratulations. Cool. I love everybody, but cool. Female. Railroad, yeah, if you want to be a mod, let me know. I can use some help. Went on to film the COVID site and was supposed to be busy. Oh, okay. So they're trying to hide stuff. So the mischief, what were they charged with? What was the actual charge? Mischief? There's not much you can be charged with. Interesting, Prairie. Bring on the honks. Honk, honk. Yeah, what I like to try and tell people is the honking in Ottawa was just a nice little polite little beep beep to let people know that we're not happy. Kind of like a driver in the city, just a little polite beep beep. That's what those 3 weeks were. They ignored it. They flipped us off. Now we're going to have to get their attention. Okay. Legal. Don't call for anything that's illegal, but get their attention. Hey, Joe. I donated my voice to the cause. Oh, Joe's got an amazing voice stunt. If you haven't heard him, he's a podcaster. He's on one of my videos. If you go back to my extras, you'll find Joe in there. There was one that where I didn't realize his audio worked. We got him at the end, and he's a stellar. So yeah, if you want voiceover, Joe's amazing. Hong Kong Prairie. I do, Jason. Are we married now, Barbara? What was that I do for? Maybe somebody that you know that can help, or the moderating. But my wife and I willed each other. Haha, no way. I'm a DJ and I've played all over Toronto, Ottawa. Oh yeah, it's not. I got a lot of DJ friends. Elliot Perrin, he does a lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm definitely clubber. So EDM. I really like everything except for jazz. I'm sorry to anybody that loves jazz. Jazz and I don't jazz. But everything else I can get on with, classical to country. I love country. To EDM all the way. Dubstep, it's good stuff. Get you going. Oh my God, he's going to tell you some more connections. Yeah, look, I believe in it, Railroaded. I think it's wonderful too. I think you should pay attention to what the world says, the universe says. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Yep, and the result of that were 2 beautiful children. Hey, Ellen. It worked for me. Nope, I believe for sure, but I know many stories of similar. Yeah, no problem. Happy to share that. And yeah, much love to my wife. She's wonderful. You'd be surprised to know, but she's Nigerian. She's an import, and she picked up her family, her parents, moved them here. The war was getting bad. There was civil unrest in Nigeria. She's a great woman, strong woman. Right on, Railroaded. You too, Prairie. You guys are awesome. All of you. She's a girl. Sorry. Love that reaction. Happens every time. Well, here's the thing, Railroaded. You're very bold and strong. And that's what I love to see. So apologies if it seemed to caught me by surprise, because it really shouldn't. But it's good to know. Thank you. And apologies if there was any offense on my side there. Handsome being female. Congratulations, Prairie. It doesn't really matter. So, but yeah. I can help mod if you wish. Yes. Oh, okay. Railroaded, for sure. Are we connected on Twitter? Are we connected another way? Let's make sure we are. I was a DJ for years in Niagara. Look at this. This is the kind of group, right? Where you like to have fun. We like to have music. We like to produce entertainment. We like to enjoy each other. I'm seeing a theme here, folks. I'm seeing a theme here. A lot of good people. Maybe the Valentine's Day celebration is always going to be a massive dance party. Always. Because that with bouncy castles and hot tubs. And maybe those are the theme. Dance music, hot tubs, bouncy castles across Canada every 14th of February. Oh, by the way, I'm going to buy stock in a bouncy castle company now because it's going to go well. The choir fails cement. There's quite a few things, by the way, stunned. The convoy was in the middle of Ottawa Club District where they usually bass booming. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, for sure. And we always hear this 24/7. The line I dislike the most is diesel fumes spewing into the air. Like, come on, my friends. I did hear some of that Government of Canada testimony and what they were doing. She's just a star when it comes to mountain out of a molehill, right? My goodness, she loves to paint a really horrible picture that doesn't exist. I do. Believe in the universe making things happen. Yeah. Barbara, look, it brought us all together here. What a great group here. I used to spin house, hard rock, UK hard. My wife would love that. She's schooled in the UK, so she does have a soft spot for UK pop, UK class, or rock. A little trance, but not much. Somebody's in my ear, and I'm not
The
crazy.
commission is reconvened. The commission reprend.
All right, folks, I'm going to catch you at the end. Enjoy the rest of this last half of the afternoon.
Okay, we're
Day 12 in the books. This is day 12, day 13. I'm getting so confused now. So many. Day 13. No, it's day 13. Oh, wow. Another day in the books. Hey, the commissioner was calling them protesters at the end. Did you see that? He was calling them protesters. The protesters are next. The protesters are next. So in his mind, maybe he's still on protesters. He hasn't seen illegal occupation yet. Wow, look at all the people in chat. Dave, welcome to the chat. Joe's back. Everybody. I'm also in Discord. I am jumping from screen to screen. Railroad link for what? Do you want a link to this? Let me give you a link to this. Wow, there's so many cool people everywhere. Hey, 1 second, folks. I'm just going to paste a link and let these people know. Go ahead and join my chat. I sent the link a couple times there. The link that starts with StreamYard. Go ahead and click that, and I'll put you on the screen, and we can talk. Otherwise, you're just going to hear me mumble about some stuff for a little bit, and then I'll be wrapping up. It's 4:20 here. It's 4:20 here, and I'm going to try and wrap up before 5:30 because we don't have the hotel room anymore. Let me just double check what the wife said. Yeah, 5:30. So 5:30, they're going to boot us out. So you got me for about an hour if you want it. I don't think there's too much to talk about here. I think we all heard it. We all saw it. This was a very, very bad witness for truth and honesty and integrity. Horrible, horrible representation of the OPS. And you saw the OPS respond to that. They were not pleased. It got hot. It got aggressive. Let me see where I got some notes here. Yeah, David was just absolutely not pleased. But that's where we got the cut off his nuts comment and use them as bookends. So we're quite happy with that. I got a lot of people in here who knows what happened. Okay. We've got a chat full of people who witnessed. They were there. They've got the receipts. They got the videos. Nothing's matching the testimony here. And we know this. This is the first time I heard about an explosion that happened before the convoy arrived, but yet it's being used as an excuse for being tired for like people. Okay. I'm speaking now to the people of Ottawa, the residents, the businesses, and even the police officers. Are you being fairly represented here? Do you really think this is a representation of how your city was? I know people in Ottawa, and they would be furious with this kind of representation. Diesel fumes, honking, party. It's enough to traumatize people. Police officers tired. They're exhausted. What are you talking about? The protesters were there the entire time, and you don't hear them complaining a single iota. And they were beat and had their fuel taken away. And if you look at the media, everybody was all over them. It's incredible. Holy moly, there's a whole bunch of people here. High chip bag 500, etc. Anybody want to hit that link? I'm going to go ahead and throw it in one more time. It's free. I only get access to your bank account. I'll lock it up. It's part of the Emergency Act. Come join me, and let's have a quick chat. Norman Ottawa and this bullshit. Yeah, Mr. Green Thumbs, you know it. You know for sure. Yes, there's going to be some complainers. There's complainers in everything. There's complainers outside of amusement parks. There's complainers for everything. So the fact that some people are annoyed means, well, it means much. It means something to them, but it doesn't mean anything to the grand narrative. 0 charges for unlawful protesting. Are you guys aware? Did you pay attention to the OPP testimony a couple of weeks ago where the numbers came out? There were 10 assault charges laid by the OPP for the convoy as it went from Manitoba to Ottawa. 10 charges of assault. 6 of them were police officers on protesters. So the OPP charged 6 police officers for their actions on protesters. That leaves 4. 4. Okay. 4. And I'm sure they were probably egged on and aggressive or something like that, but 4. And then the OPS have released their numbers inside of the city during the protest of 3 weeks. There was 5. Let us sink in. 5 assault charges. 0 unlawful protesting. I'm so frustrated with this. It's incredible. Hey, Railroad, you are awesome. You're now my mod. Everybody be nice to RR. Railroad, she's got your back. We all discovered she's a she. Who knew? I believe that. Yeah, no, but Denise does. So I don't know if Denise is in my chat today. She was around earlier. But Denise called that. Denise called that, absolutely. We have a brave soul. We have a brave soul. But Denise called that. She said, wait for it. And of course, we were waiting for it. It was going to happen. Azario, you there?
I think I am.
Is that how you say it, Azario?
I think so, sir.
Sir, no, that's only for people with guns. I'm Jason or Jay.
Yeah, yeah, just for a sense of anonymity, I don't want to reveal who I am, just it might impact my career a little bit. So that's why I have to be anonymous throughout this. But first off, thank you very much for hosting the stream over the last little while. It's been fantastic being able to get your commentary on this daily, and different perspectives on it has been just amazing. So sorry, I'm trying to get my headset actually working here, which would click up my mic too, but for whatever reason, I'm not pairing with my laptop at the moment. So,
well, you sound great to me. Your audio sounds fine to me. No complaints in the chat. Thank you very much for those kind comments. It's the least I can do. Sitting here doing YouTube, all day, all night. It's wonderful. I'm meeting great people, but it's the least we can do to try and get this information out. There is no mainstream media coverage of this at all. And that's unfortunate, but at least independent streamers like me and others can do stuff like this and record it and go ahead and meet people like you. It was my goal to reach out and connect with people in the convoy, truckers, real people, and I'm just so pleased that that's working. So thank you very much. And yeah, I'll be doing this as long as I got a heartbeat, and as long as we have problems in Canada, you can count on me to be part of at least my attempt to be part of the solution.
Well, you're doing a bang up job on this, Jason. So keep it up, and lots of support here from Southwestern Ontario for you, 100%, man.
Well, thank you. Southwestern Ontario is awesome. So you're down in the London area, you're down in Windsor?
Yeah, around there somewhere. So
yeah, we're not going to dox you. Justin will come find you.
Might be close to a lake, so I'll put it out there like that.
We'll just say it was a big lake, maybe a grand one or a great lake.
It's a great lake, I'm pretty sure. But yeah,
yeah. Well, thank you very much. So you've been watching the coverage from day one, or did you kind of just jump in?
I've been watching it on and off. Obviously I work during the day too, so I can have it on in the background and can't pay attention 100% of the time, but. Certainly, I try to pick up on a lot of the major players that are testifying in front of this commission. Sloly, I was really today and through Friday, he did a complete about face and composure. I think from Friday where he was really frazzled, today he seemed much more on point and able to really articulate himself much better than he did on Friday. Now, that said, I don't, I've got a mixed opinion on him right now, because it's not like somebody that I actually would classify or despise for what he's done, because I think some of the things that he's done have been noble and above board, but other things, you can see the politics kind of creeping in there a little bit, and where he's been coached perhaps a little bit to say the right things. So he's really playing the fence, like he's right on it, and he's kind of just walking down that line throughout his testimony today, not really trying to he definitely stood up for himself, where there was moments where it was called into question his integrity, and anything like that he was quick to really counter. So I really appreciated that from him. So that's why I'm just kind of like, he was playing it on the fence, I'm like on the fence whether I think overall, I think he's got good intentions, and I think that's just kind of my opinion. Whether he did the right things at the time or had access to do all the right things is certainly up in the air. That's really where I'm at with him.
Well, you're definitely a gentleman. I'm going to say that, quite frankly, because I have a slightly different opinion on you. Because I pay very close attention to witnesses, especially when they have convenient memory loss. We saw him multiple times say, "Oh, I don't recall that. Oh, I don't know that. Oh, that's not my recollection." But if that's what the document says. And then when there's other questions asked of him that are a little bit more favorable for him, like a lot of the one from Tom Curry, boom, his memory is back, just back. He's remembering the meetings. He knows who was there. He knows the intent. He understands the context all of a sudden without documents. So when I see that in a witness, that's what I call selective memory loss. And selective memory loss is a behavioral or a function. So it's a choice. That means he's deciding when he's going to have memory loss. So look, if he was on the stand and the entire time he was humming and hawing on details, I can give him a little bit more credit. But he was nailing details all around the same time, but they were selective details. So when they were beneficial to him, boom, he remembers everybody's eye color all of a sudden. But when it's super important, like whether or not he fired somebody, I don't know, I can't remember. Wow. Like, that's where I'm at on that one.
there was definitely a lot of cover your butt going on there. You know, I'm not going to disagree with that. I mean, I don't. Anybody that is on the stand in this commission realizes that there's going to be significant implications from the outcome, and you know, the findings of that commission. So I think to not try to position yourself in the most positive light is certainly, you know, it's self-preservation. Like, he's trying to make sure that he has something to go to after this, even though he may not be employed right now. But you know, he's trying to retain at least a little bit of ounce of integrity. So I'm not going to necessarily fault him for that. I can understand why, and certainly, you know, empathize with that. Does it make it right? Yeah, that's, you know, we're you or I aren't on that stand right now, and not facing the pressures that he faced during the time of the protest. And like, because I can't imagine him, you know, getting it from, you know, the city of Ottawa, getting it from the OPP, getting it from the RCMP, getting it from the Protective Service, getting it from the House of Commons. Like, he was just right in the line of fire of all these people, and everybody else had everybody had so many different agendas and desires on how they wanted this to be resolved.
Well, and Councillor Deans, chairwoman of the Police Services Board, she did a health wellness check.
Yeah.
Did you catch that part? Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a big line. Like, you got to be really prepared to step on if you're going to do that. And then at the same
borderline cut and constructive dismissal right there. In most jurisdictions, I'm not necessarily a legal expert, but it certainly enters that realm. Yeah,
it's a tough one because it's subjective. So the person looking at him makes a subjective opinion. But we also had the OPP Commissioner Thomas Carrick say that he was concerned to the point where he was going to initiate a Article 9 conversation with the chief. So this all happened around the same time, where Deans said to him, "Hey, there's a smear piece coming out, CBC. Maybe think of a check. People are out for your head." Like, we heard that today, that she mentioned to him that people are out for your head. And then you got the OPP saying, we need to chat with this guy, see if he's okay, not mentally, but situationally, to see if he needed any assistance.
Did that happen the same time that, or around the same time that Councillor Deans was actually inquiring with Sloly on this?
Yeah.
Like, so, very close proximity, or?
Yep. So the testimony from OPP Commissioner was, we called him to set the meeting. He set a meeting. And then between the call to set the meeting and the meeting date, he resigned.
Okay.
So it was all in the 12,
so
13, 14
escalating
period.
Pressure on him to kind of force him into that decision. It seems like, yeah.
Yeah, it certainly is some pressure, but is some of it self-inflicted? Because what we also heard from him, his own testimony, was he skims emails. He doesn't read them. He doesn't read the full doc. He asks his staff to give him briefs. When he has briefs, he expects them to be at his intellectual level, so he understands them. Like, all of these indicators of not having, I guess, a desire to absorb the information in its purest form is a concern to me, because you're having other people summarize for you. And then even then, you're not even following into the details that can create that summary. And also, go ahead.
Sorry, like, I'm in operations and fairly high level manager in that realm. And when there are big events going on, you are, like, even though you might be a leader in that realm, you are checking all the little details that are happening at that point, especially when it's something so significant. Like, you're going to be reviewing briefs. You're going to be looking at, you know, intelligence gathering pieces, and that is all stuff that is your bread and butter. And you do it to trust your people and make sure you're giving it a second set of eyes and saying, I trust my people, but I'm going to just re-examine this, make sure that nobody missed any little detail that's going on here, and then give us a chance, perhaps if something is wrong, to come back and correct it and execute that plan. So I see that he fell down on that significant amount throughout is the handling of this event just kind of left things off to his subordinates, I would say, in this situation.
Yeah, and usually there's nothing really wrong with that as long as the information you're getting back is absorbed and you understand it. We heard way too many times from him that he doesn't remember, and has to go back to notes, and then he concedes. What I think was going on, and it could just be a function of the job because there's just so much going on. But I think he picked and chose what information to believe and what narrative to believe, because there was two narratives. There was a narrative provided by the OPP, which was they were in the trucks, they had embedded assets, they had covert operations going on, so they definitely had an inside information. And then he also had the narrative from the federal government. So the PMO office, CSIS, we just heard today that CSIS provided some of the information for national security concerns. So he had two narratives. He had the narrative from the federal government, which said, this is Jan 6 coming down the pipe, we know it. Okay, that's probably what they were telling him the entire time. This is January 6th, get ready. And then he had the OPP saying, no, these are just frustrated Canadians that want to be heard. And then he took a pick. He chose which narrative he was probably more comfortable with. And hearing some of his talk, like flags or Canadian flags and truck is antisocial, it's not hard to take understand which way he leaned. He leaned towards the federal information. And then he acted as if that was the truth. Now, I'll give him some credit here, Azario, because, again, being a leader, you're basically only as good as the information you have. And if you chose to only follow one narrative, what do you do if you're in that mindset? You're him. So you're being told this is Jan 6, it's going to come crazy. You see a whole whack of people, but they're not really doing that. So you're just waiting for the tinderbox to explode. How long does it take for you to kind of realize that maybe you're being lied to? And I don't think he ever realized that. I don't think he ever came to a realization and said, the OPP data is far closer to what they're saying. And I think maybe when he came to that realization, or if he did, maybe that's when they got rid of him. I don't know, Azario.
It's certainly, a phenomenon that happens where you get into tunnel vision and you get really locked into a particular concept or mindset of how something is going to play out and execute. And then you have a tendency to prop that up as much as you can and throw as many resources as you can at that particular plan or function. But then, that's exactly where a good leader would come back and pivot and look at, okay, wait a second, this isn't matching what I've been told. And, we've got to kind of reassess and take another tact here. So for those in the chat that were asking if I was a cop, I'm not a cop. So I'm a professional of a different kind, but not in the policing sphere. So
no, fair enough. And I got some training for project management, so I'm familiar with the tools and the software and the procedures to kind of orchestrate large projects. I'm surprised to hear some of the things that I'm hearing, that they didn't even have software to coordinate. Are using they can GPS us for COVID, but they can't GPS the police. Seems weird here. So some of the things that we've heard, Azario, is kind of a call for a national OPP level report, OPP level information, because they did such a good job. How do you feel about maybe the recommendation of this being a new national authority of some sort that has policing, intelligence, and national security on its mandate? Because one of the things we heard them talk about, a hint at, was an amendment to Article 9 of the Police Services Act, which would give a mechanism so that it's without consent to take over command of a local police force. All that talk scares me, the bejesus out of me, because we're 2 steps away from an SS. So what do you think about that?
No, it scares the crap out of me too, because I think that we have a national force with CSIS right at the moment to be able to provide that nationwide level of intel, but being at the level that they are, they're very hesitant to share that level of knowledge with, kind of either federal or provincial or municipal type of policing outfits. It seems that, the OPP is the most homogenous out of the group that is willing to share that amongst all the provinces, all the municipalities. And it was born out of a need, I'm certain, to be able to raise the level of awareness to threats potentially to the nation. And I think that that is a valid concern. Like, no matter what your position is with the convoy, I don't think that this would give rise to that, certainly. But I think that, you know, if there were, you know, national level threats, then the OPP Hendon reports would be a fantastic tool to be able to get intelligence out to those that are on the ground and need to be able to be prepared for some sort of event that is coming their way. But I agree that it's a slippery slope once you start going down this road and trying to figure out, well, how far do we want to, you know, let this go before it's starting to really infringe on our charter rights? And it's a balance. Everything is a balance. It's like airport security, right? So, you know, we give up certain rights within traveling on airplanes for a sense of security. We you know, we'll take off our shoes, take off our belt, and have, you know, all our contents examined, leave a nail clipper behind, so that everybody can have the sense of feeling safe. So it's a balance. And I don't think that there's an easy way to answer that question, but I don't like the going down that road when we've got a lot of operators in place right now that could potentially provide that information to the forces that are in play.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. CSIS has failed, though. So they didn't have the OPP data that we're aware of. So why would we want to try and put in the federal government's purview?
No,
to go ahead?
I don't agree with that. Like, I mean, we don't know what CSIS knows, and because they don't share their information. And I think to say that they failed is maybe a very broad, like, I don't want to call you out on that, man, because
you can call me out. That's fine.
No, we don't know. Like, we don't know what they share, what they communicate, because nobody talks about it. It's top level secret. And I think that maybe, you know, the top level at the OPP might get some of this information, or at the RCMP, but that's about it. We don't really see anything else trickle down. So sorry, I didn't want to.
No. And don't worry, I have a pushback on that one too, though. But isn't that an easy scapegoat to just say secret info? We have enough and then call it a day, but we'll never see it. We'll never be able to have privy to it. We can't even get a layman version of it. That just seems too easy to me for them to be able to say that. I'm in law, so I like proof. I like evidence. And one of the most difficult things to do is to just tell, well, at least for me, is to tell me to just believe me that it's going to be, you know, something so serious. But let's just play hypothetical for a second here, Azario. What could they have that they need to keep secret that would actually justify the use of the Emergency Act? Because the Emergency Act is only allowed to be used when there's no other laws and no other ways to deal with the situation. If this situation that they say is so secret and we never know about it, but they say they can't deal with it, would you be satisfied? Or would you want some sort of proof? You don't need to know the names or how they collected the information, but wouldn't you want some sort of proof to go, well, we need to know what threat we were under then to execute the EA. And why was the EA then used on protesters? If there's some sort of threat coming from outside the nation that they're so worried about, they can secretly deal with that. But what I watched was video of protesters being attacked. That wasn't in secret. So I'm going to push back a little bit on you too, Azario, because what could the hypothetical be? Something from Afghanistan, something from the States? Like, what could it be that would have been justifiable?
Well, and I mean, it's a very convenient package to be able to say, all right, yeah, we've got something secret. We can't tell you what the threat was, and this is why we decided to enact the EA. And I would not be surprised at all, Jason, if that's what it came down to, is that there's something that comes out of, you know, the testimony of CSIS that's going to be done, you know, closed quarters, not being visible to the public. And
yeah,
the commission
already announced that.
You know, the commission kind of looks at it and goes, well, yeah, that suffices, and, you know, meets the bar insofar as the invocation of the Emergencies Act. I don't like that. I think that we need to be more transparent, but because CSIS exists, you know, for that to a degree, plausible deniability. You don't know, and you keep people in the dark. And, you know, if you don't have that intelligence, then you don't have to say or report to the public, you know, this is what went on. So it's just, you know, it's a matter of self-preservation, and only the highest levels of government really have access to that information. And then they can always invoke that privilege of saying, well, this is top secret, we can't talk about it, and shut the thing down. So I'm with you, Jason. I think that we should have that transparency. But I also know that it's not beyond the realm of possibility that this government would use that as a weapon to be able to say, we don't need to tell you why. We just decided that we wanted to invoke the EA for whatever reason, and this is why, you know, it's going to be behind closed doors.
Well, unfortunately, though, Azario, the statute doesn't allow them to do that. The statute requires them to give the reason. There is no way for them to secretly give a reason to a commissioner and leave it at that. If that's what they do, it's a violation. They have to give the reason. Now, what they don't have to do is give up how they got the information or give up any names of informants or anything like that. They don't have to give any, what you would call like tactical or strategical information, anything like that, operational. But they certainly can tell you, we had a threat credible from this. It was about to happen, and we stopped it because of the EA, and case closed. But if that's the case, then why are they even moving on the protesters in Ottawa if they're not related to this national threat that brought up the EA? Why are they then just kind of using the EA to clear this protest if there was a credible threat that we'll never know about? It doesn't make sense to me, because they pulled out the EA for something. Let's just say threat number one. Threat number one we'll never know about. Threat number one, they had all the proof in the world it was about to come. Let's just put that on the side and give them that credit. Threat number two, protesters in Ottawa. All right, so now dealing with two threats. Well, if threat number one requires the EA, why does it spill over to the threat number two? And all we've heard from the government of Canada so far, as they've been coaxing witnesses, especially when they're feeding and food, spoon feeding them, is stuff like, Tamara put out a tweet and there was a counter tweet that said she was fake. Well, if the government of Canada has some secret deal or some secret information that really clears them, why are they pulling out petty little things like tweets? Why are they talking about the RCMP swearing-in ceremony was saved? Why are they talking so much about tow trucks? Why is the government of Canada working so hard to hit the 4 or 5 talking points about using the EA, which was, one reason was it was more easy to understand. So they said the common law version of move orders was too hard to understand, so the EA was that solution. They talked about RCMP swearing in being faster. They talked about compelling tow truck drivers, even though we've heard testimony that fewer tow truck drivers were willing to work with them after the EA was invoked. And then we heard about being able to put in a red zone and protect the parliament. They needed to have some way to protect infrastructure. All 4 of those items listed there, well, except for the RCMP swearing in, all 4 of those are already covered by other tools. So right now, I haven't seen the foundation from the government, and they haven't even said secret when they're talking to these witnesses. So Azario, like for example, Sloly, he was on the stand and he was asked about CSIS information, and he said it was inferior to the OPP information after he started reading the Hayden reports. So look, I want to live in a world where my government didn't F us up, okay? I totally want, I'm reaching for it. I wish that was the case. I wish I hit my head too hard and I'm just overreacting. I want that to happen, but I'm a realist. I'm really not seeing it. Like when this government of Canada lawyer, both of them, I think there's 3 of them now, when they come up, I get so deflated as a Canadian that this is how my government wants the world to portray us. Because, we're watching this inquiry, but this is global. Now, if you're a rogue state, come get Canada. It's going to take you 3 horns and a surprise visit to Ottawa, and you're going to take it over, and that's it. But at least that's what they're painting, right? This is what my government is telling us. We're so weak economically, national security. We're so weak everywhere. Police forces, information, intelligence. We're so weak on everything. I don't believe it. Okay, I really don't believe it.
I wasn't aware of the fact that the proceedings that would happen with CISA's testimony would not be part or not be visible to the public. So
yeah, it's in camera.
So, or as long as that is, I thought there was some level of censorship there, that they were going to be able to redact some of that testimony from actually hitting the public, because that was the concern, is that they didn't want to, jeopardize assets perhaps, or the intelligence gathering that they have in place. So that's the angle that I was approaching that from, Jason. But I don't really want to live in a police state like this either. And it's certainly a good demonstration, or I should say a bad demonstration really, to the world, that, we're airing our dirty laundry here and showing how incompetent that we actually run a country.
But do you believe that's true, though, or are we just narrating the incompetence?
I would like to believe that we actually are more competent. I don't know. In the absence of evidence, I don't know what opinion to take from that, because
there is evidence.
I think we have the ability to govern this country, but it is on a certain agenda, and that agenda doesn't necessarily line up with what the public is actually after. So, my thoughts.
Yeah, I think Charlie got it. Yeah, Mr. Green. Yeah, I'm being a little sarcastic, but it's all good. Look, I'm trying to collect my thoughts on this because I'm a little frustrated with some of the information I heard today. I do disagree with you, though, Azario, that I think we're far stronger than they're painting. And here's where my evidence is. We heard testimony clear as day. The bridge in Windsor was cleared by the 13th. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cornwall was cleared by the 12th. So, and it was a short one there. There was a small little protest in Cornwall blocking that bridge. Coots, as we all saw, was cleared before then because the guns popped up. So they cleared that one up pretty quick. But all three of them were referenced in the announcement on the 14th. None of them were active anymore.
Active, yeah.
So I have a problem with that. Like, my federal government's got CSIS, got OPP, got Hayden, got phone numbers, got police chiefs, got all the information in the world. Do you really think they just messed it up that bad on the announcement? Or do you think they just got like information late? Or is it just a bunch of BS the day they stepped out and did that announcement? Because I'm going to push back on you on that one, because we do know there were no border crosses blocked on the 14th when they said it was. So how would you kind of justify that?
No, and I think we're actually in alignment here, Jason. I believe that there was, like, those were no longer active threats to our sovereignty. So therefore, the need for the invocation of the Emergencies Act was null and void, at least in my mind. They cited that because I think they wanted to say that there was a potential for those types of blockades to occur again, and we needed to kind of invoke this so that it doesn't happen, and we have the powers now to do it, which is, in my mind, a load of BS. I think that they just were tossing everything at this in order to justify the position that they just didn't like the truckers downtown Ottawa, and they didn't have, like, they had levels of incompetence through the OPS and not being able to actually, deal with the truckers that were there. But the most disgusting thing to me really was that nobody from the federal level or even the provincial level wanted to meet with the convoy and wanted to talk. And I still hallmark that as probably one of the most, important inflection points of this protest, is that that's what it could have, taken to be able to move this down to something, or at least start moving things in the right direction. Nobody wanted to have a conversation. And that is just, in my mind, spitting arrogance. It's just like, no, we've got a plan here, and we're just going to wait a little bit and see how this plays out. But if these guys stay a while, well, we've got this little tool back here called the Emergencies Act we can pull out and just throw out of. So I don't know. That really stings in my mind. For sure. Nobody wanted to have that conversation.
Well, are you aware of the two active plans that were active? The one convoy plan and then the one OPP plan. Are you familiar with all four of those?
I was familiar with the OPP, the convoy plan with the city of Ottawa, but I wasn't.
Well, I'll take you through them. So the first one is the mayor's plan. We'll call it the mayor's plan. So the mayor's plan was a deal between Steve Kay, the city manager, and the convoy.
Right.
The deal was move the trucks down to Wellington, get out of the residential areas, and you'll get a meeting with the mayor. All right. So that was the deal. Go ahead and move the trucks to south of Wellington or down to Wellington, and you can get a meeting with the mayor. So that's the mayor's deal. We'll put that on the side because that was only between lower levels of the city. So the mayor wasn't involved, but they were using a meeting with him as a carrot. But Steve Kay definitely has confirmed that, that deal was in place, and it was actively being worked on February 14th. The second deal that was in place, because it was agreed upon and they were working on it, was the meeting with the prime minister. So there was a prime minister meeting deal that was made, and that one had two conditions. Denounce all unlawful activity. So the protester organizers would have to go on TV and say, it's all bad, don't do that. And they would have to leave the protest, leave Ottawa. If they do those two things, they get that meeting with the prime minister. Those two were active. Those were being worked on February 14th. They got canceled. The third plan that was already active, and the third plan didn't require anybody. The third plan was the convoy were relocating to a farmer's field in Van Cleek Hill, and there's another one. I can't remember where it was. Van Cleek Hill, if you don't know the area, is a good 45 minutes to an hour away down the 417. It's quite a ways away. And that plan was to bus in protesters daily and continue the protest on Parliament Hill. That deal was, well, that's not a deal. That was a plan. That plan was communicated. People knew about it, and they were actively doing it. The fourth one was the OPP plan, which was what we call the peaceful resolution proposal. That one we saw the testimony from, he's got a nice French name. I keep messing his name up. Let me get to it just a second, because he was a wonderful witness from the OPP. Marcel Baudin. He put together what we would call the peaceful plan resolution, which was basically a combination of all three plans, but working with the protesters, PLTs, PLUs, keep the conversation going. The protesters were starting to understand the impact in the residential areas, and it was starting to get on everybody's nerves. So there was a lot of movement in that PLT-based OPP plan. And as we saw with the dramatic questioning from Brendan Miller on the OPP officer with the plan, he had no idea it made it to the cabinet and sat in front of the prime minister and was rejected in order to put the EA in. Now, I'm going to speculate a bit here, okay? This is speculation to my convoy friends and stuff because I think it's true. I think what happened was they realized that the convoy's plan to park outside the city and bus in was going to last a very long time, and they were going to keep doing it for as long as necessary. So that's why it got shut down. That's why they just shut it down. They just pulled out the EA and then shut the whole thing down because after that point, there was going to be a bunch of trucks on Wellington, and then all other trucks gone, everybody else outside the city, and they were all going to be bussed in. I don't think the federal government wanted to see that happen because that would be now a new template to have a protest forever, and they're not interested in teaching Canadians how to do that. 100%. So yeah, so I think that's when the PPS stepped up, Parliamentary Protective Services. They nixed the city deal, which was to move trucks to Wellington. So they said no more trucks on Wellington. So they nixed the city deal. And then later that afternoon, EA dropped. So look, if they just gave them, and another story is they had so many barriers in place that they couldn't even move trucks. Had they had the barriers out of the place, the trucks actually would have been, quite a few of them would have been long gone by then. So I don't know how we look at this. It seems like either a complete incompetence, like horrible incompetence, or there's a little bit more strategic and 4D chess going on here.
Yeah, I'd lean on the side of 4D chess on this one because, you know, even in the testimony today, Sloly was asked around, was ever notice given to any of the protesters that there would be, you know, consequences or actions taken against them? And I think that was a very salient point because you should be providing that kind of notice because you want to de-escalate in that type of situation. You want to say, okay, get these people out of here, everybody that they can, without having to use force against the people that would that all the people, you just want a segment of those people that would remain to be able to, you know, enact force against, if you're thinking about that from a strategic standpoint. But one of the chatters here asked if I asked my opinion on whether or not our charter rights got abused. I certainly and wholeheartedly agree that our rights just got beat the heck out of here on many fronts. And I don't know that so many Canadians are very passionate about that or even aware. That kind of makes me sad as a citizen of our country, that people are just going, oh, this is okay, I'm just going to deal with this. Like, I mean, just go along with the government narrative. And it kind of disgusts me for living in this country as long as I have, or being born in this country as well. But it's just, it's deflating. Like, I mean, you mentioned that earlier today, where, you know, the government of Canada comes up and it's a deflating kind of conversation. I get that same sense a lot of the time where those revelations come out, where it's just like, we got had, and we got to stand up for this. We're better than that. We're a strong people and we're smart people, and I think that we can, you know, move against against organizations or governments that are not in our best interests. We just don't have a lot of mechanisms to do so. We're really behind like the U.S. and with like not having recall rights as an example, and being able to, you know, impeach a sitting prime minister. Those are things that we need to kind of build into our constitution, I think, to safeguard us a little bit more in the future.
Well, there is a little bit of good news. We do have that, but we need our MPs to not be criminals. So what I mean by that, and I know that's a bold statement, the NDP Liberal Party partnership is criminally illegal. It's bribery of an official. So if our MPs didn't participate in stuff like that, we wouldn't have an NDP coalition with the Liberal Party, and we may have our no confidence vote by now. So we do have mechanisms only when there's no crimes involved and people are stopping it. My opinion. I've read the criminal code for bribery, and it's verbatim. It's exactly what they did with that deal. So if we weren't doing that, we actually would have had a mechanism in place for no confidence vote, and he would have failed. I think he would have failed it.
I think that this, when it got up to the Senate, it would have actually failed, and that's why he canceled it when he did.
Oh, you're 100% right. I have info. I have inside. Yeah, the Senate was going to vote it down.
Yeah, 100%. So, Jason, thanks for the talk. I'm going to drop out of here, and you know, keep up the great work on your streams. Really appreciate the commentary and the narrative, and you know, awesome. I hope that some good comes out of this commission.
Yeah, and thank you for your time, and really thank you for all the pushback. That is the best thing we can do with each other, is critique and push back, because we don't need echo chambers, and nobody here believes that they know everything. So thank you for pushing back. I think it's very important that we are open, honest, and frank with each other, because we're not like the other side. We don't live in La La Land full of fantasy and fuzzy feelings. We're in the real world where real people can get hurt when people are not doing the things that are right. So thank you very much for your time, and I'd love to do this again with you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jason. Have a great one.
You take care.
All right. Cheers.
Bye, bud. Anybody else want to risk it? Get in there. You want to challenge? You want to debate? You want to go back and forth a bit? I do have a little bit more time before I will go, though. I will make it. So as you can probably realize, I haven't done a summary. Do we need one? Do we really need one? I do have some notes. They're sparse because this guy was so dishonest. I wasn't even happy with him. And what about what you thought Azario said there? Secret information, is that enough for the EA if the government says it? The EA is written in such a way that they do have to show it. It can't be a hidden issue. It has to be a real corroborated event. It has to be real. It can't be, we thought the aliens were coming or something like that. So even though he did say, look, maybe they have their reasons behind closed doors, I don't believe the statute allows them to be secretive enough to not give their justification, because the statute requires justification. So it'll be tough. Repeal law. Which one? Which one, Clay? There's so many we can repeal. So many. The pronoun one is the first one I want to head after. Being charged or face jail for choice of words. That's not right. That's going to drop off in winter with no warning. 100% Norman. That happened all the time. We heard it happen the day of. We were getting streamers reporting that the day of. And I bet you Stunt's got a whole bunch of people that he knows that was dealing with that. Should give it to us. You wanted the breakdown? Is that what you're saying there, RR? And then we got a no way from Prairie. But what I would do, though, Railroad, is I'd have to do it another day. I might just record it for you or something and put it up. Because I also have to go back to some of it that I missed in court. So there's a little chunk there that you guys were all excited about when the Canadian Constitution Foundation was doing questions and then whoever was before him. So I'd have to kind of rewatch that. All right. Any more questions in the chat? Go ahead and ask them now. Now, some of the other things that I did like about, let me just go to some of those notes. I did have a couple of things I did like. He did start using protester far more often than occupier. Oh, sorry. There was one thing I wanted to say to Azario that I don't think he understands or knows. Declaring a protest unlawful and an occupation. There's a procedure for that. There's an actual procedure to that. And what it requires is the Minister of Public Safety making a declaration of the province or the federal. I think it has to be federal. I can look into that. But anyways, Minister Marco, all he had to do was use his pen and so to put a signature on a piece of paper that would have declared it an illegal occupation. At that point, from the moment that he executes the illegal occupation declaration, there's a whole whack more tools that become available. Far more aggressive, but a lot more tools that become available because we do not tolerate illegal occupations. Okay, we get it. Wasn't declared for whatever reason. And that means to this day, it was never declared an illegal occupation. So every time anybody in this inquiry says it was an illegal occupation, that's 100% opinion. That's not official, and it never was official. We should keep that in mind because yet that's one more tool that they could have used to open up the toolbox to get a lot more laws and ability to deal with things. They didn't do it. All right, sorry about the background noise, but sure, give it to us, Kay. And throw in there an explanation regarding the difference between paralegal. I'll do that right now. So paralegal and lawyers in Ontario is the only jurisdiction where this is the case. Everywhere else, last time I looked, paralegals are legal assistants. They can just get some schooling and stuff like that. Paralegals in Ontario, they're regulated and licensed by the Law Society. And what they ended up doing was created a subcategory of the laws and different areas of law that paralegals can work in. And those are small claims court, summary criminal convictions, so anything under 6 months and under $5,000 fine, summary, I can do. I could do traffic court. I can do basically provincial court. So anything in the provincial court, I can handle that. The only things we can't handle is estate planning and wills. I guess it's just far too complicated for us. We got to deal with lots of money and stuff like that. So that's off. What's another one? Serious criminal, so indictable offenses. So you get yourself into some serious trouble. Paralegals can't help you there. And until recently, immigration was one of the ones, but they've opened that up a bit. So you could go back to school as a paralegal and get a certificate for immigration in order to practice for immigration. But we are sole practitioners. So I did run my own law firm, I guess you can call it. I was the only one in it. It was a paralegal, but it's technically a law firm registered with the Law Society. Yeah, so we can just do that, basically do all the light stuff. I think this should be something that happens everywhere. I've written a letter to Danielle Smith in Alberta and said, look, you need to bring paralegals in. Our legal aid system is in trouble in Alberta, and that's due to the cost of lawyers. So paralegal should be something that all jurisdictions look at in order to increase the level of access to justice, which is important, and in order to lower the costs for everyone. Paralegals is a good idea. And I did that because I didn't want to be a full lawyer, nor did I want to practice law at all. But I got my paralegal license because I wanted the education. And then I practiced for 2 years to get comfortable with it. And that served me well today. So today I was a plaintiff on a private matter, so not for a client because I'm not practicing in Alberta. It was for myself, and I won. So that's an example of why I did that. I wanted to be able to handle situations, and it's paid for itself in spades since then. And what I've saved on legal fees. I used to spend a lot on legal fees until I went to school for it. They're trying to push diagonal. You know what? That's come up twice now, Dave. Okay, that's come up twice, and I've been waiting for it. I've just been chomping at the bit because they needed a boogeyman, and I think they found a boogeyman and made one up, right? So I'm waiting to see more about that because I know the truth about diagonal. It's cool group of people that are frustrated but non-violent. They're smart, they're trolls, and I like what they're doing. But it has come up twice. I think the government of Canada mentioned it once, just almost in passing, and Paul Champ mentioned it in a group including white supremacists. So he's being a jerk about that. But yep, it hasn't come up much. I'm actually a little surprised. Farfada has come up a lot. I don't know who that is, a Quebec group of some sort, but they've come up a lot. No way to accept a secret reason. 100%, and it's not allowed. It's not allowed because the whole idea of the, because remember, its original title was a War Measures Act. The whole reason for that was national war. Like it got invoked for World War I, World War II, and then it got improperly invoked for the Quebec issue with Trudeau Senior, and now it got improperly invoked again with Trudeau Junior. So yeah, there's no way to keep it secret. It shouldn't be secret. In fact, if our government has trouble with secret defense of our country, and that they need to pull out the EA on protesters, we've got way bigger problems than protesting in Ottawa. Our government is screwed. And by the way, if they're correct that the economic damage on Canada was going to take Canada down and possibly the globe because of a few days of a blocked bridge, I want an audit, a full audit of our finances in Canada, because then we're in trouble. I think it's a lie. It wasn't true, never was. But let's try and hold them to that. Like if they say we were close to a collapse in economic, show it. Show us how bad you've been managing our country this last 7 years or so, Justin. And let's know how bad it is. Maybe you're right. I would agree with him on the EA if he shows us the books and yeah, they screwed up so bad that we were just moments away. I would eat that justification. He'd have to be held accountable for putting us in that situation, but then I would understand. But I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe it for a second. Windsor Bridge blocked, but there's the Detroit-Windsor Tunnel. There's Blue Water Bridge. There's Sarnia. There are so many ways to cross. So come on, get out of here with that narrative already. Are you coming to Ottawa? I might have to. I might have to. I have a matter in Ontario Court, 21st and 23rd of November. Some shady crap there. One day when that matter's over, I'm going to do a video or a movie on that one. It's 4 years of fraud I've been dealing with. Donald Best, if you're listening to this, you and I will connect on that one. I just can't go into detail because it's still active. But I may have to be in Ontario for the 21st and 23rd. So if I am, I'll pop up. But I'm trying to avoid it. It's a lot of expenses and time away to just do that. Mr. Grum, his birthday's February 14th. Yep, every year. And he left Ottawa to move to Alberta. Yep, left 2021, last year. Alberta. Yeah, I've had one winter here so far. We're about to go into the second one. The universe sent him to us. Could be. Maybe the universe sent you to me. It's wonderful, isn't it? So Railroad, thanks a ton for all that support. You seem to be pretty excited with us meeting, and I couldn't be more happy to have met you guys. And gals, right, Railroad? That just burns me every time they say occupation. No kidding, because this wasn't even declared an occupation, but yet they just throw that word around. Kind of like microaggressions, violence, assault. Like they're just redefining the words to do whatever they want. And that's incredible that Brendan keeps bringing that up. And how many people were annoyed with the chief, pretending like the definition, the actual legal definition of the words don't matter. Just his feelings version matter. I don't like seeing that. I don't like hearing that. Words matter. Precision in speech is important. And yeah, if you can just change definitions, what's the point of a language at that point? Mary Henning. Who's that? Is that an expensive lawyer? Not everyone can afford Marie Hein? Maybe a lawyer. Jason Independent Journal. I guess you like Freddy Krueger. We occupy their dreams. That's that and Friday the 13th were the two that kind of got me when I was a little bit younger, just for a bit. I'm a very practical, logical person, so I get out of that pretty quick. But Freddy Krueger was fun. You remember when horror movies were good? We haven't had anything since like Saw, the series of Saw. But yeah, they used to be really good. Railroad, right on. I'm pretty sure there'll be lots of honks on his birthday. Oh, you're all amazing. But hey, yeah, maybe we should do something with V-Day because it is the anniversary of the EA, and it's going to be something that we can celebrate in some way. Would that ever upset them? The day that they want as their big day, we take it away from them. That'd be awesome. Bingo. Barbara, you're awesome. Fafada is a group from Quebec province, a bit more radical, but still peaceful people. Yeah, so my question about them, are they religious-based? Are they just radical? Are they government radical? Are they Quebec radical? I don't know anything about them. But what I do know is the worst that we had was one of the members may have had a knife attached to the back of his knapsack. That's it. That's all we heard. Maybe a knife. That embarrasses me. Yeah, let's know that you're coming and I'll be there. Yeah, if I come for sure, I'll let you all know if I do manage to make it. It's not likely because this particular matter should be ending pretty soon. They don't know it, but it will. But if I do, I most certainly will let you know because I'd love to be there. As I heard, they'll be honking across Canada on that day. Okay, waiting for the mail room to receive consensus on. Cool, Railroad. I'll be down. I don't have a truck, but I'll be down. Honk, honk. This is my stand. You're awesome. I'm really glad I met you guys. Gals rule for sure. We couldn't be here without gals, could we? We would have one generation. That would be it. 100%. Stunt you rock. What do you know about Navigator? Navigator's a crisis company, a PR company. They are the ones that will give you the script. So they are a BS company. Their entire purpose is to spin. I think their favorite word is context. And they're very good at it. And, they navigate situations, right? A nice name. But yeah, they're very good at it. They're well known. And yeah, if you ever get yourself in trouble and you have no balls and you want to be unethical, give them a call. They'll take care of you. Return to Ottawa, February 14th. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I still have some family there. I wouldn't mind seeing some people back in Ottawa. Or no, Ottawa, just east of Ottawa. Just so you know, I was in Alexandria. That's where I lived before. I flew into Ottawa all the time. It was a good time there. I did some court stuff there. Chio, we saw Chio a lot. I have a son with Down syndrome, so this is something we deal with. But it's awesome. It's not a problem. He's stellar. You should meet him one day, everybody. She was a lawyer for... Okay, cool. Yeah, no, there's some good lawyers out there. There wasn't one in court today, by the way. There was a lawyer there, but not so good. There was a guy at the convoy with huge knife. Huge knife? The cops were informed on stream and said it was a religious weapon and didn't concern them. Oh, okay, cool. Sure, it might have been part of a uniform and stuff. And this is Canada. We don't have these kind of violent issues. So 100%, man. You are more hardcore, but they believe in freedom. They are more hardcore, but they believe in freedom. Oh, Farfada. Okay, sure. Yeah, and I can see why Quebec is got its own group too, because they've had a tough battle too, fighting for their freedom and sovereignty. So I get it. Especially how separation movement has died down. So maybe Farfada is still part of that. I don't know enough about them. Yes, I think WPS was using it. Windsor Police Services. Oh, for Navigator. Yeah, they're probably used by quite a few. Okay, like how do you twist unblocked bridge into a blocked bridge? You call these guys. have cousins in Alexandria. A lot of Lavignes in Alexandria. A lot of people with my last name in Alexandria, and some good hearty people in Alexandria. They got a good little town there, North Glengarry. So it's a good group of people there. And Scott Forget, if you're listening, you will be mayor one day. I'm pretty sure of it. And if you know the Forget family in Alexandria, it's a good group of people. I think it was one far away that was shown in the commission being smashing out the gun, but I'm not sure, Dave. Sorry, I fall behind quickly sometimes. I got a lot going on up there. It's not religious, just more passionate. Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess if they were religious, we may not hear about them. They respect that, don't they? So yeah, I guess, yeah, I should have figured that out. They're not religious. Farfada. That's a proper way to spell it? Okay. What if we honk where we are? You know, across Canada, we could time it. That would be funny. You'd have to do the time zones. You'd have to figure that out. By kind of like Remembrance Day, 11 a.m., we all stop for a moment. 2:14 p.m. Everybody stops. Eastern time, Ottawa time, something like that. Let's keep that going. Solidarity is a very important thing, and it brings people together. They flood social media with feel-good bootlicker stories for police. It's incredible. And there's still tweets up from the OPS that were fabrications, complete lies. For example, the protester was toppled by the police. There's a tweet that says they joined the protest back. They went right back to the protest. So that's a lie. So is that not false misinformation? Don't know. I guess when you have police services as part of your Twitter handle, you can say whatever you want. Cool. Yeah, Sheik's have nice shoot. Look, we're not a country that goes around stabbing and violent. We don't have a history of that. So, you know, trying to twist any. And don't forget, Councillor Fleury said trucks are weapons. So anything becomes a weapon now. Now with the knife with Sheik, sure, I believe, something like that. Anyone, it was the only weapon I saw and the cops knew about it. Sure. Costume, decorative, no problem. And they'll always protect religious rights, right? And honk. Let's honk. Let's go. Honk against the lies. That would be a weird video, right? If we did a honk sound every time they lied, you probably wouldn't get much audio left. February 14, 2023. I'm down. I'll celebrate with you all. What about Dolly's phone being wiped? Yeah, boy, he back and forth on that one. That should be easy to prove, though. Okay, he did bring it up. Tom Curry did bring it up that the IPS or ISP provider for the phone would have records. They certainly would. But I'd like to hear more about that. I don't know how material it is to all of this, other than impeach him, because if he lied about it, that would be perjury. If we hung at the same time and we consider a nuisance to U.S. and noise complaint, make us proud, Canada. Yeah, that'd be neat. Maybe a 5-minute honk or something. We're all just on it until our batteries are dead. I don't know. Let's talk about it. But I know that Alberta would support you. Alberta absolutely loves all of you. We still haven't found out the identity of the gentleman who died during the convoy breakup. When will the police? What are you talking about there, Stunt? Who died? A protester? Natural causes? I don't know about this, Stunt. Very keen to understand more. But who died? What about the Sloly phone being wiped? Yeah. We'll see if we can hear more about that. I don't think it's going to come up more in this trial because there's no more OPS coming. But I assure you all, once this inquiry is done, there's going to be a lot of sleuths like me going through this stuff, especially perjury and testimony and contradiction. So there might be stuff in the future. What I'm hoping to do is when I win, because I do believe I'm going to win MP, I'm going to push for inquiries, investigations, and charges across the board. This is kind of why I'm also doing this. I want to get myself very prepared with all of the information that came out in inquiry so that I can go ahead and push and articulate with the proper people on why it is I'm pushing forward with stuff. And this is what MP Power can provide. This is not something you can do just by demand. MP Power has that. So let's get it for me so we can get in there, get in through the back door. We don't have to honk in the front door. We'll go through the back door, and we'll be there for years. I assure you, and I make a promise to all of you right now, I'll be the most complained about MP there. They will file a bunch of complaints against me. None of them will stick, but boy, will they hate me. I assure you of that. Looking for Jason something. Yeah, so the clip I'm looking for is where they're using the business end to hit the guy on the ground, because the testimony was that officer felt his leg was about to come off and went straight to the medics after that. So if we can find that video and see what happened. I think, just from my memory, he assisted with the dragging away of the protester. I didn't see him hobble away in any way, shape, or form. And I assure you, if there was an injured officer, that would have been the headline from CBC all day long. I think it was BS. Never happened. 13 minutes. Oh, look at that. 26. Yeah, get in there. My wife's not here to pull me away yet, so I might be able to sneak a few more minutes in with you. Trucks are weapons. Yeah, go look it up. Fleury, and the French guy, the guy that lost his mind on Brendan Miller. Fleury said they're large, ominous, and what was the rest of that sentence? Large, ominous presence. That's what it was. A large, ominous presence. That is a weapon in his world. So my commentary of that is stay away from the shipyards, the airports. You're going to be terrified. They get way bigger in equipment. I might go all day and night. Railroad, let's do this. This is so much fun. Oh my gosh, you guys are great. Can we find out how the second person that got trampled? You mean the gentleman? You mean him? Because she went to the hospital, broken collarbone, and the Special Investigations Unit of Ontario, SIU, got involved with that one because they get involved on all serious bodily harm. And that one did qualify. They did investigate. That's the only one, by the way. So the Rebel News reporter shot by that canister, they didn't look into it. Just the trampled lady. I think he died. Oh, well, I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that. I wouldn't want to spread that just yet. I don't know anything about that, Mr. Green. So can we look into that? Obituaries, who are you talking about? I suppose I was having heart issues and the crowd couldn't get him from. Well, that makes me sad. That makes me sad. So this was just a participant and couldn't get to medical fast enough or something. I did not hear about that. Oh, I'm sad right now. Geez, RR. This is something that bothers me. And maybe it's my Valentine's Day thing, but this kind of stuff bothers me. If I remember correctly, he passed away and was taken out. Oh, Jesus. Oh, stunt. Yeah, that one's hurting me. Oh, we love you. I love you too, Stunt. You and Railroad and basically my entire chat, except the porn bots. You guys can take a hike. Hong Kong Stunt. Yeah. Freedom. Let's do this. And Stunt, let's make that movie. Let's do that video. Let's do something with that. I have one video I found a fella put together on violence. Okay. Prairie, are you going to get involved with us? You're going to help us out? Come join us. We're all going to make a movie here. Thanks again for having me. Oh, hey, you're back. Cool. Enjoyed our talk. DM me on Twitter if you want to connect. We're already following each other. Same name, I guess. Same name. Sure. Or you can DM me if you have that in front of you. Then you'll be on my list, and I'll certainly keep in contact with you. It was great speaking to you. And if you want to chat more offline and private, I'm very good at keeping secrets. Nobody knows my secrets. So we'll keep it that way. And I also had one whistleblower come out, and I got two more who are thinking about it. They're very uncomfortable right now. You guys got to get better organized. I had to look up what FFS meant, by the way. So now I know. It's every sing time that we do, and we need this many topics. I want a reference sheet. Railroad, you are on fire. We're in. We're in. Do not send me to Helen. Wait, I'm not sure what that's reference to. Maybe I'm not getting everything here. I'll look again. 13 minutes of honking. Oh, I see what you did. So 13 minutes of honking. Maybe. 13 minutes of honking to celebrate. En français? Ellen, parlez-vous français? You speak some? Petite for me. I can maybe get through a conversation, and I have busted people. I see a wife. I have busted people overhearing what they said. My father's French, but we didn't learn it at home. What was the Farfada? I don't know if that was Farfada or not. I don't know if that protest has been identified. If anybody knows who that protester is, I'd love to speak to them, because apparently they got huge arms that rip off legs. So I'd like to meet that person. We have video of the cop posing with their trucks and screaming, "What do we want? Freedom. What do we want now?" Yeah, you know what? And that was something I kind of wanted to ask Stunt. I think I did a little bit about the police officers, fake news. We all know the police officers, tow truck drivers, whole whack of professionals supported the truckers. Please press the like button. Yeah, please do. This is one of the most liked videos. You guys are great. Hey, you guys want to meet some people? JJ, Jacob, Paula, if you want to. This is JJ. Say hi. Say hi.
Hello.
Don't be shy. You go ahead and say hi.
Hello.
There's a whole whack of people here.
Oh, wow.
So how did Dad do in courts today?
I'm guessing good.
Yeah, why is
Won.
that? Yeah, I won. That's
You
right.
did. You won.
Yeah, and this is Jacob, everybody. He's our little special guy.
Hi.
You
Got
do.
it.
You got your chocolate. You want to share with anybody?
Yep.
Yep. And you want to say bye to everybody?
Honey.
Bye-bye, everybody. JJ, you want to say bye?
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
All right, folks. Well, on that note, how can I say no to those faces? I'm going to have to get out of here. I'm going to have to take them home. We're going to feed them up and have ourselves a good time. So thank you all. I'm going to try and get through some. There's a lot of chats here. Thank you all. Jacob, somebody said hi to you. JJ, nobody said hi to you, though. Nobody said anything to JJ. But yeah, no, I love my kids. They're awesome. Jacob is a star. Everybody loves him. Ramen TV vids. I'm done helping anyway. Okay, let's all start. We'll keep this chat going. We'll keep this channel going. We'll keep these streams going. We'll use this as a bit of as a recruiting tool for like minds and passionate people, and Stunt and Railroad and everybody. We'll all just get together and do what we can. Yeah, I saw that Stunt. Yeah, you are definitely a source of videos. I will go through them. I can't do them right now, but I will go through them. When it starts to a movie. Oh, perfect. Okay, you've got this in mind. Thank you for sharing. I will go through them. Railroad, you can drop that link. She's Hart. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're up in Grand Prairie. Saddle Hill. That's a great asset to us. Alberta, yeah, Alberta is ready, guys. Just so you know, Alberta is ready to lead. Danielle Smith, there's a lot of chatter around Alberta. We're ready to lead. We're not waiting for other provinces to join us. We'll go. Un petit peu. Me too. Très bien, mademoiselle. Comment ça va? Easy now. You guys going to get me? You're all good. You're all good. He sent. Hey, buddy. I guess that's for my kids. Yeah, Barbara, they're amazing. They're amazing. I sent you a link on Twitter. It shows RFP and Coots hugging and shaking hands. Yeah, no, you should know a little bit more of the backstory about Coots. First of all, it was the protesters who turned the guns in. It was not the RCMP who found it. And it was because that's not what it was about at all, 100%. And I really, there's something wrong with that story. Okay, let's let that one pan out a bit. We're going to hear some testimony around Coots at this inquiry. But there's something really wrong with that story. The people there, they were stellar. Okay, there's something happened there, something weird. I don't know what it is, but those guns came out of nowhere, just so you know. Hi, Jacob. I screen capped. If you join Discord, you can share links there. Jason can decide if he wants to share them or not. I'm not sure what that means. Otherwise, there's a remainder. And by the way, just to be clear, clip, steal, grab my videos, do whatever you want, flip it, turn it upside down, add audio, put the glasses stuff on, do all that stuff. Please share. It needs to get out. Yeah, no, we got to go do Halloween. That's right. Thanks for the reminder. Your dad's awesome. Oh, Stunt. Stunt, you're great. Thank you very much. I do appreciate all the support from all of you. You're amazing. Have fun tonight, all. Oh, and Stunt, if you didn't know, I do if you want a mug or hats or T-shirts and stuff, that's on my site. Later, brother. Thank you so much for everything. Cool. You guys are great. Good job. Good game. LOL. Love this. What's that mean? Splub and splite. I've seen that quite a few times from you, Railroad. What does that mean? Splub and splite. Hello, JJ. JJ, you got a hello. You got it from Stunt.
Oh, stunt. I hope you pull off some great stunts.
That's exactly what he does.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, he does stunts. Okay. So JJ's impressed with you already, Stunt. JJ and Jacob, hi from Clay. Are they trick or treating tonight? Well, we live in a small town, so we're going to go visit a friend and just kind of spoil them. Some of us are up late on Discord. I'm going to do my best, Railroad, to jump on there and spend more time. I put the app on. I've got the account. I'm in now. From my initial, I'll navigate. It's a new interface. I'm going to have to get used to a few things, but I'll get there. All right, chat. Let's just go, family. We're almost there. Yeah, we're almost there. 24 full time to handle our chat. Oh, I'm looking forward to really getting to know a lot more of you. We're not leaving Stunt, but we're going to lead solidarity or sovereignty. So we're going to lead the sovereignty. We're staying in Canada. We're not leaving, but we are going to grow up and we're going to go back to Section 92 and 92A of the Constitution. We're going to take our oil back and we're going to take care of ourselves. All provinces will do it too. Yes, hon, but he's trying to say it's all good. It's all good. And we can share it next stream. Oh, Railroad, you're awesome. It's all good, Prairie. You guys will work it out. Yeah, Universe said so. That's right. Universe said so. They said, let's all meet. I just walked out the door and start watching. Just walked. Hey, Juice. Meant to meet you. Rewind a bit. There's some good stuff today. Enjoy. Lawsuit against Comp for wrecking that equipment. I ran into a protester, hopefully not with your car, who were interviewed and they were spreading love and light. But he said splub and okay, cool, Stunt. Okay, very cool. Okay, well now that I know the reference, very neat. Very neat how you're spreading that around. Who? The protesters in jail still? And what do you guys know about Jeremy McKenzie? He's still in jail. He was denied bail. Something's very odd about that. I think they're keeping him in there until the inquiry is over because he shouldn't be. Bail is a right. I'm not sure why it was denied. I don't know enough about the details, but I do have a friend who's connected and is sharing the information. I'm concerned that just like Tamara Lynch, when she was picked up for Canada Day, it was either to provoke or to hide. So I wonder if that's going on with Jeremy right now. Honk, honk. Hey, Juice. Time for the kids and get on with the fun. Yeah, I'm 2 more clicks away here. Individual. We love it. You. Thank you all. Thank you. I didn't do this to feel good. I did this because I was pissed and I want to do something about it. But you guys are really turning this into something much nicer than I thought it was. Thank you. Truck Tudo. Yes. Splub and splite. Guy is in jail, last I heard. That was a few weeks ago. God be with him. I'm not sure what it's about. I want some crime stories from Northern Alberta. That's a whole different. And hey, Railroad, you're not so far. You're several hours away, but if you're headed out this way, let's connect and have a coffee or something. All right. Well, that's the last message, you all. Railroad, 9 minutes overtime. Thank you for being my moderator. I assume you're a moderator until I remove those permissions. Don't feel obligated to have to show up in any way, shape, or form. If you show up, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But thank you very much for volunteering for that. Well, folks, I think I have to say it now. Love you all. You guys are amazing. I am definitely inspired to keep going. I'm glad you like the suit. I don't have to always be in my flannel outfit. I clean up well. My wife married a man. So thank you all very much for your time. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll be back in my fifth wheel, so you'll see the background back normal. But you have a great night. Thank you all so much. Although there's 13 of you, I'm going to hang up and go trick-or-treat with my boys and spend some time with my wife. And yeah, don't bother us at 9:30. Take care all. Love you. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. And if you like this video, remember to like and subscribe and press that notification button to receive more information like this. You can also follow me at yellowhead.vote to stay informed and get the inside scoop. Thank you.